up, big up, big up, and welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm the Liverpool 12th Man, and also I am joined by the Irishman as well, and I'm joined by you, which is so important to this show. As in, without you, this show does not necessarily happen. So I appreciate the fact that you are here live with us, and if you're watching this on replay, big up to you as well. We got Red for Life here. How you doing, Red? We are going to get into some fun stuff today, as always, get into some of the topics of news, get into the topics of whatever you want to bring up too as well. It's a Twitter talk or Twitter takes, and it's Talk Tuesday. It's Tuesday, you know. As much as you can say, whatever you'd like to say, it just ends up being it's Tuesday. That's all that it is. We're that much closer to getting back to Premier League games. We have a few international games still on the docket. We have Germany versus Netherlands, for instance, or we have also USA men's national team versus New Zealand. There's some games on the docket that are going to still take place and get in some of this Nations League fixtures out of the way, and also get closer to, again, getting back to Premier League play. I did mention also that we're going to talk about some names that have been processed out there in the journals that might be actually players that we are going to see be pursued possibly this January window. We'll go into a little bit about squad depth. I know that there's something that I've seen been brought up quite a bit lately, and I've seen it unfortunately been defined wrongly by some content creators, and it's a shame. So I wanted to make sure that I get a little bit of context into what exactly is squad depth and what is just, squad numbers, because so often I've heard some of these content creators bring up points, but yet they don't necessarily have the proper context, nor do they have the proper definition of what the word even means sometimes. So, myself, like, either if I don't know something, I normally will research the heck out of it so that I do learn it, and I'm able to pass that information on, or if not, incite or invite you into a conversation. So, yeah, it should be a fun day today. Hope that you're doing well out there. I see Cedric in the house. Big up, Cedric. Hope that you're doing well. Hope that the day is treating you good. We here in Arizona, as I'm in Arizona for now, sometimes in California, but I'm here in Arizona now, and I am enjoying the summer heat as always. I know it hasn't peaked to 40 degrees Celsius just yet, but we are on 39 degrees Celsius. So we're at the cusp of getting back into the 40 degrees Celsius range. It seems like it's like an everyday occurrence with that. And also we have a little bit of news that I wanted to get into. So I'm gonna the Irishman is here, but he is taking care of something real quick. We might be joined by Lee as well. We'll see. I know Lee's got a bunch of stuff going on, so we'll see about that. Oh, and also we will get you. I will give you a reminder. If you do have your fantasy football team, be sure to start getting ready for the return to action, so that you have your team ready for this upcoming week. I can even give an update as to what the standings are if you guys like. Just tell me if you want to hear them. And yeah, pretty much ready to go. So yesterday I spoke on how there was an actual player that we were possibly going to pursue. Now, this player is a player that we were involved with talks, at least, in the summer. And it's a player that has since been brought up again. Now, yes, that player very well could be Zubimendi. I get it. You know, I don't know if you guys even want to talk about Zoolander or not. So let's just go into a defender that we are looking at pursuing. And that defender plays for Juventus. He's actually a very good player, plays for Brazil as well. And all of this things here. And it basically is a player that I kind of wouldn't mind see be brought into the cool. I see Brian. I wouldn't mind see being brought into the conversation as well. Big up Nalante, by the way. Big up Nalante. I can say if you want Nalante, you can join the conversation if you want. I can send you the invite if you like, because we're going to talk about squad depth. I know that Nalante is very big on managing the minutes for Virgil, for instance. Reason why I'm bringing that up is because this particular player that I'm mentioning or referencing does play, again, a center back position, and is a viable candidate to eventually, or at some point maybe, take over the duties of being the main center back. But yeah, if you want, I can send you the invite. If you're busy or taking care of the kids, I understand completely too. Big up to Red Armchair supporter and Philip as well. Brian, are you with us? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep. Cool. Just making sure. I wanted to give a proper introduction and proper hello to you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm absolutely knackered. Okay. I didn't sleep very well, and I got rushed into doing stuff. So yeah, I'm not feeling 100. I'm not feeling 100%. To be honest, I'm not feeling amazing.
Okay.
But we'll be,
I'll tread lightly today with you. I'll tread lightly today. Not trying to bring down the bring. I'm trying to bring up the spirits, not bring down the spirits. But yesterday we spoke on it. We ran out of time, and there was a player that I wanted to get in bring up at least, and it was Bremer, the player that plays for Juventus. Do you know the player I'm speaking of?
Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah. Not personally, but
do you have a take on him? Do you have an opinion on like his play, or not just his play, but do you think that he's a decent player, or?
I don't know really, because he was one of those kind of highly rated guys, and he got a what the fuck? Even footage for okay. Sorry, computer told me to do things. Bremer. Yeah, I don't know a lot about him. He got a big move, and then it didn't really work out brilliantly, did it? You know, I think he goes to Juve from Germany. Was it Germany he went there from, or did he go there from another? Because I know there's another guy with a really similar name who I always get mixed up with him. Was it Munich or something he was at, or I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, I really couldn't say much about him at all. Only just what I know about him: highly rated centre half. All the rest of it, I couldn't. Yeah, my knowledge there now pretty thin.
Okay, because he's basically, from what I've been reading and seeing, because I don't really follow. To be honest with you, I don't really follow the Italian league too regularly, but I know that he has been rated as being possibly he's not Bastoni, but he is certainly, if Bastoni's A, he would be B in Serie A. And that's what piqued my interest in that he was a player that would be an interesting target. But at the same time, he's 27 years old, I believe. And hypothetically, if we were to sign Virgil to the contract that I would like to see us sign him to, for instance, which is basically another 3 years, including this year included, it would be 3 years included if we were to get what I would like to see us get. That would mean that we would basically have a backup technically, or a player that certainly could be a starter, now 30 years old. You know, like, as in, I think that, like, if we were to get a player, we need to get a player possibly in that 24 to 27 range. That'll work out better, because then by the time, if we were to keep Virgil, by the time he is done, and with his career here at least, we would have a viable candidate at 27 as opposed to 30 to take over his duties. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be bringing anyone in at that age unless they're going to start. I wouldn't be bringing anybody in high profile unless they're going to start along with Virgil. I wouldn't be looking at bringing someone in to replace him in 2 years' time. I wouldn't see the point in doing that with some big. I'd be bringing in people who can start now, make an impact now, and a difference now. So it's maybe Kanate has put the brakes on that a little bit with his performances and his form. So yeah, it's a hard one to do because
are you against, like, because sometimes too. Go ahead. I know there's a little bit of a delay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to shut down stuff, so make sure there's no delay.
Yeah, no, it just like I'd be bringing this. If we're bringing in a center half, I'd be someone that I want us to probably start. Not any long-term project center halves that are going to be replacing Virgil in 2 years. Just bring in, someone now. If Ibu is, you've got Ibu and you've got Kwanzaa. I don't think like Joe is in that area now where 0 minutes in the league, so probably not in the first team plans. So you could bring in someone to maybe be replacing him. But if you're bringing in a Bremer, like this kind of level of guy, I'd be expecting him to start really, that's what I'd be wanting. But some of the partner Verge, but yeah, it is.
He was at Torino. He was at Torino, by the way, not Germany, but yeah. No, I'm just telling you the team before. I'm sorry.
I just couldn't remember.
Was he in Germany?
Yeah. Because there was a guy, I think it was Breno or something like that was in Germany. I can't remember. The guy who burnt his house down. I think he was a keeper, actually. Had a bit of an episode and burned his house down. Went to jail for 2 years for it. Brenner or something like that as well. Yeah.
Well, big up to Laura. Big up to Philip, by the way. Good to see you guys in the house. I also saw lost. Where's this little Cedric? Okay, just making sure I said hello to everyone. Red Armchair supporter in the house. Yeah, there was a little bit of. Oh, I did. Well, no, I did say Nolante. I think I sent Nolante the link. I think he's going to be joining us shortly. But so what then? So what is your typical player that you do? Because he is 27 years old again. Like I said, he turned 27 in March, so he just turned 27 in essence. 6'2", plays center back, but plays primarily could play right or left, but primarily plays the center back role. And positioning, aerial duels are his strengths. Quality player. Again, he was from Torino originally before he made the move to Juventus. Before that, he was at a Brazilian club. That was his U20 club, at least, and back in Brazil, Atletico. So this player I saw on the radar, and it got me thinking, like, okay, well, I think what you can actively see, because these are some names that I'll just throw some of these names that have been out there for us bringing in, possibly pursuing in the January window. Eze has been mentioned if we can't get this Salah deal finished and finalized. Zubamendi has been a name that has been brought up once again. There have been now talks that despite the fact that Davies does look to go to Real Madrid, that is his preferred choice, has been put into all the journals and the likes. There's no guarantee that he's going to sign with Real Madrid. So teams like Manchester City, even Manchester United, and Liverpool have been all clubs that have been monitoring his process that are going to approach him and propose a deal. They've already started to figure out how the wages would work. I know that he makes about £185,000 or something along those lines currently. So he would definitely need a bump in his bump in his salary to incite him to come to Liverpool, and that also would mean that it would be a little bit of an adjustment process to get done with our wage budget. But again, I'm bringing up all these names because when you really look at a lot of these names that are being offered, they seem like we're trying to, I don't want to call it future proofing, but it's certainly the case where you're seeing a lot of these players that if Robbo does move on, or if we do move on from the players that do have contract situations like your Salahs or your Virgil van Dijks or even your Trents, it seems like we're preparing ourselves for that next stage. Does it not, or do you think that we are still? Do we have some real sufficiently large shoes to fill when it comes to the roster?
To the squad, I think. Look, you're always buying for the future. You're always preparing for the future in one sense. But like I said, if you were to bring in a guy, I don't want to be bringing in another guy who's just into, like, I want us to bring in someone who can push Ibu out because he's that good, or at the very least, the first choice there behind him. It's fine. Like, to bring in someone like David wouldn't be. I mean, that'd be someone who'd be coming to start immediately. That would be good cover. Well, not cover, but that's someone who can play all up and down, like left back. And I know he's not a left back, but he can play, and he can play up on the wing as well. So you probably double his wages on a free, probably 360, 400. I think that's a big signing. That's a bit that I wouldn't be on with that one. I wouldn't like the sound of that one at all. Too high profile, too much big money. A guy who could want to go to Madrid, even when he signs for us, he could be thinking he'd rather be at Madrid. So I'd like to see. Yeah, I think we've been crying out for someone that's an obvious Salah replacement for a long time. We brought in Chiesa. That's probably a bit of a wait and see how it works out. So I still think we do have work to do. I think there needs to be a plan in place for at least 2 more players.
Do you think, real quick, it's not off topic, but real quick question though, considering that this is dealing with transfers, do you think that we got the best player in the summer transfer? Do you think that we got the best player out of all the teams in the Premier League, at least? Do you think we got in Chiesa?
Oh Christ! 4 years. Chiesa 2020 best player at the Euros. Chiesa 2024 very different player. So no, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't go as far as that. I don't want. I'm not. The follow up is, well, who's better? I don't know. I wouldn't come out. I wouldn't be so confident to say he's the best player anybody signed in the window. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to wait and see. I haven't seen him kick a ball for us yet. We need to wait and see on that one. Hopefully we can look back and say we got the best pickup in the window. Hopefully, but definitely. And I'm just trying to randomly think who else was kind of signed. Yeah, there hasn't been kind of any major kind of blockbuster.
There wasn't. That's my point. Like there weren't that there wasn't that many.
Yeah, you have to give him a bit of
names.
Give him a bit of time. Yeah, best player or best signing is a different. Yeah, like I think Onana could end up be a brilliant signing for Villa, but would he be the best player that was signed? Probably not.
Right.
I'm racking my brains trying to think. Yeah. Who was who did I think? Well, that's a serious player that they're after getting. And there isn't really like there's a lot of kind of the likes of Xerxes and Savinho and these kind of players. It's just like, oh, well, we're going to have to see how good this guy is. A lot of kind of potential and waiting to find out how good some of these players are, rather than being like, oh, they've just gone and got, a Ronaldo or a Hazard or a De Bruyne or a Salah type player, or a Virgil van Dijk. I don't think
Mhm.
there's been any of those kind of. So, because City didn't do a lot, and they normally do something. So, yeah, it's actually been a bit of a weird window. They probably spent as much money as ever, but
Um, I'm trying to see what Hyler's talking. Tell me what you're talking about, Hyler. I see that you said not even top 10. Are you saying Chiesa is not even in the top 10 picks of, or the top 10? If you're putting the players that have been transferred to the Premier League, you'd say he's not even in the top 10. Is that what you're trying to say? I just want to make sure. I'm just asking for clarity. I'm not judging your comment. Um, Bernie says, we've operated on a skeleton team in the past. I think that they are hedging their bets and improve the team and cover for any key players leaving. I agree with that completely, Bernie. I think that's what we do see here. I don't think that we're going to see a case where I think they have learned something from their past mistakes, and they will make a concerted effort to not have it occur again, where they're left out short and then scrambling to kind of like, fix a hole. Then you know what I mean? Like, it's not too often that you get as many injuries as we did that year that we had all this the center back crisis, for instance. But like, you know,
no. But you got to
you don't
remember it.
you
You got to be
can't really
prepared for
prepare.
it. Like,
Yeah,
well, you got to be prepared for the fact that it might happen as much as you can. I mean, you don't want to end up in another Kabak situation.
yeah,
I think that was something
yes, I
that
agree completely.
more action was needed. So yeah, I think in January, if Zubmendi, for instance, is a deal that can still be done, and it hasn't worked out the way that it was supposed to work out with
Excuse me.
Sociedad, then I wouldn't be at all
Mhm,
surprised to see that revisited in January.
mhm,
Maybe not the centre half. I think, like Bernie is saying, we are going to probably cross our fingers a little bit and hope that we don't get any major kind of crises, which we just by looking at it, we seem to be just naturally better trained in terms of avoiding injuries at the moment. I mean, look, Trent is in a game right now, so playing
mhm,
playing for England, so that's there's plenty of time for something to happen. But again, like we did point out, we were
right.
looking at the team, and then we said, well, look, you take Van Dijk out of that team, then you have an issue. You take Gravenberch out of that team, you take Gravenberch and Van Dijk out, they both go away and they get flu, play for Holland. Then you're looking around. This team's looking pretty thin again. So it only takes one or two. It doesn't take six to
Mhm,
be out.
mhm.
You don't need sometimes you don't need an injury crisis. You just need two players in the wrong positions, and you're having to kind of cover it a bit. So I think that would be one that they would look at doing again. It seems like it hasn't gone away. It's just because,
Mhm.
yeah, like all this stuff that's come out since, and maybe he's might have a bit of few pangs of regret looking at it, going, "Geez, I really should have taken that move. I'm still here. I should have taken that move." There's probably a couple of people ringing him up saying, "Okay, so what's the crack there? I mean, really? How many of these big clubs
Right.
are you gonna turn down? It's good to be a Sociedad boy and a Bass boy and all that, but go out and just try something different for 3 years. Go and do it somewhere else and give yourself a chance. You never know. You
Mhm.
might like it. Okay, Liverpool isn't the Basque
You might like
region.
it.
That's
Also, you can
fantastic.
always go. You can always go home. You pretty much can
Yeah,
always
you'll
go home.
always they will go home. This guy obviously is probably kind of guy that's not going to sell his house. He's gonna be going. He'll know I'll be back in exactly 3 years. Don't sell the house. Just keep all the
Oh,
stuff
okay.
around. He'll
Mhm.
go away for a few years, but I know he'll be going back there. That would be his plan. Clearly, he loves the place. So, but go out and try something different, and maybe if it doesn't go, um, again, like sometimes you're at somewhere and you're in love with the whole place, and then all of a sudden they don't treat you that well. Things can change. So this club situation, the board situation, the wages situation, contract offers. If that gets messy, then maybe he's not so happy there. Maybe you go, oh, I loved it, but I was betrayed by the owners. How many times have you heard it? You hear it every week.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't think that's one that's dead at all. I'm not going to go on the banging the drum on it and all that, or checking Twitter for it every day.
Oh,
But
says
yeah,
Zubimendi one
not
at
be
least.
surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
No, not be surprised to see it come up. A centre half, I'm not so sure. I think that might be next year now at this stage.
Mm-hmm. I could see the Zubimendi deal, working out. Would you, as a fan, would you be still open to bring in a player? You just spoke about you spoke about Davies, for instance, having his heart, quote unquote, targeted for Real Madrid. We've seen where this player's heart is definitely associated with his parent,
Yeah.
I'll call it his parent club. Could you say the same for him then too? Just elaborating a little
Well,
bit.
no, that's no, that's to me that's totally different. I mean, that's about a guy wanting to leave his one and only club, and a guy having a dream, having
Mm-hmm.
a guy having a dream club that he wants to get to, and he doesn't get, so he's picking you second. I think it's about. I think it is very different. Like he's already at Sociedad, and he might not want to leave, but things that can change. Like I was saying, like he can feel treated differently now by the owners. Whereas someone like a Davies, or when Lenny Yoro going to Madrid or going to Man United, when everybody knows it was Madrid he wanted to go to, and
Mm-hmm.
he got, so as a Man United fan, you should be looking at going, well, look, he didn't really want to play for us. But again, look, I'm not going to say that I know what any player is thinking, but if it was just a minor aside about Davies thing about him wanting to go to Real Madrid. I mean, there's a lot of players like that want to go to Madrid, they want to go to Barca, but it doesn't go their way, and they go and they do really well at some other club. That was only just I wasn't saying that as like a big warning sign thing against Davies, but I just think with Zubimendi, it's that he's at the club and he decided to stay, and you're going to say, right, well, are we going to go through all this again? He decides to stay again.
Right.
I just think
Oh, okay. I
I
get
just
what
think
you're saying.
maybe
Like, yeah,
it
there's
might
always
have.
the possibility that he once again changed his mind last minute
Yeah,
and says, you know what, I want to
yeah.
stay
But
again.
look, no. The question is, would I take him because I don't think he's going to get here, right? Basically, say with a player like Davies, not Davies, but a player like Davies or a player like Yarrow, they might want Madrid. It doesn't quite work out, and they go to a Chelsea or a Villa or a Man United or a Valencia, but they've never kind of, they still wanted Madrid. And then a year later, Madrid might actually change and they might be able to get them. That player then starts making noises about wanting to get his dream move again. That's the kind of player I'm always wary about. Like I need to know they're 100% committed to come to Liverpool. Not that
Too. I
they
got you.
were our only club. Of course not. But just I want to know that in a year's time, if Real Madrid start fluttering their eyelashes, you're not going to be on the phone to your agent saying, let's make some noise to get out of here because Madrid want me. I'm out. I want to go. I'm always a little bit wary of that, but not saying that that is what Davies is or would do. But people like that.
Okay. Okay. Um, I see for clarification, I saw Tyler did bring in clarification to what he said. I'll bring up Tyler's points because he was saying that Chiesa is not top 10. It says Chiesa right now is just a name from the past before serious injuries hit him. Italy didn't shine in the Euros. They were really bad. And did Chiesa play at all? And then he goes on to say, not that I like the guy, but Sterling is probably better than Chiesa right now. Minta for sure. So pretty sure there are 10 better transfers in this window than Chiesa. We got him cheap for a reason. I think the reasons why we got him cheap, if we're calling it that, is because of his contract situation and the fact that Juventus didn't want to sign him to a new deal and he wanted something new in his path or in his journey. So that a lot of those factors made the deal a little bit more palatable for Liverpool. But I could be wrong, I guess. If
Well,
I
look,
I think
half of what he's
I
saying
think
is what
Chiesa is
I
top
said.
10. I think
Like
Chiesa's
half,
top 10
yeah.
a top 10 transfer.
like half of what he's saying is what I said earlier on. He was one of the best players on the planet in 2020,
Right.
especially at Euro 2020. He was unreal. And since then, things haven't gone so brilliantly. ACL gets a bit older. I mean, but that's it.
Mhm.
But that player hasn't completely disappeared. It's but we don't know. So maybe it's the fresh start and the new surroundings
Mhm.
is what he needs, because he proved his fitness last year. So that's not I'm not worried about that. But it's probably just went a bit stale for him at Juve. And the
Yeah, that's
guy
what I was
jumping in.
saying. Yeah,
Not
new path,
you know,
new adventure. Something that we're
yeah.
actually, advocating possibly for, even like Zubimendi or something like that. Just, you know,
Like we said
new
last
path.
year, £100 million or £100 million 4 years ago. They were talking about this guy, 80, 90, 100 million. That was the prices. It was like, this guy is, if you're looking for a right winger, Chiesa, or left winger, right winger, Chiesa, probably the second or third most expensive on the planet. But like I said, he has an ACL, a couple of quiet years under Allegri, defensive coach. So maybe you can be a man reborn on the slot. But like we say, at the price of 10 million, it's pretty much a no brainer. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You know, we haven't sunk 100 million on uh, an Usman Dembele going to Barcelona or something like that. We haven't spent 100 million on him. You know, so but a lot of
Yeah,
what Hyder is saying is correct. I mean, he isn't as good as he was 4 years ago, and he's had an ACL. So let's get him to Liverpool and see if we can get him going again.
yeah, and maybe revitalize his career. Uh, just making
Big
sure.
up, Nalante.
Nalante, I have you on mute, Nalante. Whenever you're ready, I know there's some background noise in the back. Whenever you're ready, yeah, you just take something.
No, good. Big up 12. I mean, getting over the Derby defeat, good old USA and Canada.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Brian, I had to
Came in
mention it,
hot.
bro.
Came in
Yeah,
hot.
yes. Fortunately, old Alfonso Wonko, some of the other
Yeah.
Canadian players. I must admit, I don't have no clue. But yeah.
If we had the same circumstances happen against New Zealand, then we'll talk. But I mean,
Okay, yeah, true. Poch coming in and all that, it's all right. It's, like I said, man, it's only your neighbours down the road, Canada, but that's fine.
oh, Canada, yeah,
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 yeah.
Canada. I
It should
know.
be fun
I
on
hear it enough. I hear it enough.
should be
They're
fun on
loving it, but
the Bayesian
yeah.
Reds on Friday Night Live, or Bayesian's Friday Night Live. It should be good fun.
Oh, indeed, Brian.
Yeah,
You
You
lot
want
I'm
are
to
so
hear
sure it
Brian,
will.
Canadians in
literally.
there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be. But that's all good. It's all good. I've said before, like, it's going to be when Poch comes into the fold, then we'll get a real, understanding of where
100,
this team is with his own
I don't know,
evaluation, what
man.
he can do with some of the young players that we have and try to
100%.
develop
You,
into.
you want to make sure he hasn't just gone and lost his passport or cancelled his ticket. Looking at you watching that New Zealand
He's
result.
I don't think he's
Yeah.
lost his passport. I think if anything, what he's doing is he's collecting those checks. Can't blame him. I mean, Chelsea's right.
No. I'm just saying. If he lose against New Zealand,
New
maybe he kind
Zealand,
of
yeah, Brian.
he might be
Oh,
cancelling that plane ticket. He might be.
I think I'll stay in London. Yeah, exactly. I'll stay in London, yeah.
Is that tonight?
Possibly.
Is New Zealand
Possibly.
today or whatever you call it, today or tonight, whatever? Is that today, like the New Zealand?
Oh,
game?
that yes, I think it is today.
Yeah.
Hold on, it is.
Because
I know
England are playing now and Ireland are playing now
right.
as well.
I know
So
England's playing right now against Finland.
Ireland are playing
We
Greece.
have Germany and Netherlands. Netherlands is up against Germany 1-0
1-0.
currently. Yeah. And then we also have
Ireland
Ukraine
versus Greece.
versus Czechoslovakia. Right.
Ireland versus Greece.
Yeah, exactly, Brian. I like it. The plug.
Democast has touchdown. And also we have Colombia versus Argentina today, which is going to be a good game.
That's a good game, yeah.
Yeah, that should be a good game. And we also have Brazil versus Paraguay today. Brazil should walk over in that game. We have Ecuador versus Peru. We have Bolivia versus Chile. And we have USA versus New Zealand at 4. So it's in about 4 hours from now. And as Nigeria versus Rwanda today, there's a lot of. I know that game already went final, but the Nigeria Rwanda was a 0-0 draw. But,
oh wow, that's bad.
A lot of international football. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you would have. Nigeria's in a place right now. Nigeria is in a very, very interesting place with their nation when it comes to football, at least.
Oh yeah.
What there was going to be also is, so we were just talking about Zubimendi. We're talking about possibly, I initially started this conversation off with Bremer being brought into it. I know that we've moved on to Chiesa. I still think that I personally think Chiesa is a top 10 move. There's a lot of players on that list that I don't think have nearly, even with the injury and him working his way back to complete fitness and form from that injury, I still think that he excels over the players that you would possibly consider in the top 10. And
well, you asked me whether he was the best signing, and I just said there was no way I was going to go out on a limb without him even having kicked the ball. Obviously, that would be crazy. He hasn't kicked the ball for us to say he was the best signing. But even without him having kicked the ball, I think I'd still sneak him into the top 10, like top 10.
Yeah.
Like if
top 10.
I'm not.
That's
based on, but definitely he's not the best. Like, we'll wait and see on that one. But like, say to Hylor, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, if you could name 9 better players that have been signed,
you named 10 better players. Because
well, you say not even. So you could. I mean, I would be surprised. I mean, again, I kind of contradicted myself into we haven't seen him play and all that, but I mean, just on terms of what he's done. And the fact that he did play like 38 games last season, something like that, 35.
He had a decent season last season. He did. I watched some of his games. He's not as bad as what people think that meant to be. He played all right. He scored 9 league goals, I think, in all competitions. I think he was in double digits. They won the Coppa Italia, and let's forget he was playing in a team with Allegri, who's unfortunately defensive negative coach. 3-5 wing back, left wing back, right limb back, second striker. So he was all over the place, and he done decent. So all over, yeah, and yes, and the ACLs took it a little bit, but he played all right. He didn't, he was still outpacing defenders. So yeah, he's not, again, it's like Van Dijk, etc. Never be the same, but he's adjusted. But yeah, man, it's like Bryce said, it's a no-brainer, man. And he's, I think personally, he's going to cook for us when given the chance.
I do too, because I think he's going to have the ability to develop into whatever it is that is necessary for him to contribute to this team. He's gonna be able to find a place. He's gonna be able to get better under this coach. Just as Red Armchair Supporter says, name a player that hasn't necessarily improved under this coach in one way or another, whether it's with his former teams and even with some people could say with some of the play as of late. I know it's only 3 games, but still, as of late, some of the play from some of the players that were highly in question before going into this season. I wanted to also get into, speaking on Chiesa, who is a squad depth or helps with our squad depth, there's been this common debate out there. I know there was a certain content creator out there that was trying to get into squad depth, but he was inaccurately defining it. I wanted to get into what exactly, Irishman, what exactly is squad depth to you? If you had to create a definition.
Yeah, I mean, squad depth just basically means that you have players of equal quality available to come in to as many positions as possible. Like in a perfect world, you would have an 11 and then you'd have another 11 who are just as good as that and they can play. But it just, to me, it's squad depth is having players who could play, who could start, who wouldn't be out of place in the team, rather than having 25 players or having 8 young players. It's about having a team that when you look at him, you could be going, well, he could start, or he could start. One guy, if say Simicast, say, okay, at the weekend, right? Let's just say, well, Simicast could start or Robertson could start. It would make no difference because both are equally as good. That's depth. That to me is depth. It's not what saying is like, oh well, look, if Robertson isn't quite fit, sorry, we've got a Simicast there. He can play. That's not depth. That's numbers. That's the way I would look at it.
Okay. How do you look at it, Monte?
Squad depth again. Again, squad depth for me is just having the number of players covered in each position to do a job. If this person gets injured, the other person comes in. And again, it goes back to the start of the summer when everyone, again, will threaten before Chiesa and Superman days are disappointing and people were threatened. I wasn't really threatened too much about it. Yeah, it could have gone, but again, our squad was big enough, so I had no problem going this season with if we didn't get Chiesa, I have no problem going with the squad we have because we've got players, we've got young players that have done well on loan. So again, the squad capacity, if it's filled in all positions, I mean, getting extra play again, you got to think about the balance of the squad, who's in, who's out. So yeah, that's it for me.
Because I also thought, like, when we talk about like squad depth, we also have to talk about sometimes. Well, you very rarely have a team where you're like, oh, the whoever is the quote unquote backup is as good, if not better, than the starter.
Well, but they would be backup then.
Well, I mean, it could, but then again,
no, but you know what I'm saying. The better guy would be, yeah.
But no, it could be also that player might be quote unquote a better player, but not a better fit for the system that is in place. So you might have a player that's hypothetically a better defensive midfielder, right? But the defensive midfielder that you're looking for is he might be a better destroyer, let's say, because I know we talked about the DMs quite a bit. He might be, one of the best destroyers in the world. However, the system that you're implementing isn't a system that needs a destroyer. It utilizes a regista or it utilizes some type of different form of DM. So they might not in that DM that we have might not necessarily be the best DM in the world, but he is certainly the best fit for the system that we implement.
No, I hear it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. I mean, totally. But that's and then that's not depth then, because then that player is no good to you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're saying there, like, it's like that's almost like it's almost like there's no depth. That to me isn't depth almost, because like you're saying, like if you have a team that's set up to play with a very particular type of player, and the next guy that's on your bench is a totally different type of player, that isn't depth at all. Even if he is, like, quote unquote, like even if he is hypothetically better.
So then what would you classify that then as? I'm just asking for clarification. So
yeah, no, like I'm just trying to think. Like I would say, like if you were to look at, like, say if you were to take out a Van Dijk and you were bringing in player B, and you would say, how much is a drop off? Is it a 10? Is it 1? Is it 0% or is it 100% drop off? Right, to this guy that's coming in. I think if it's anything more than 20, you have a problem. So if over your whole squad you have average over a 20% drop off from man 1 to man 2, then I don't think you have good squad depth. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to have at least like 3/4 of that squad. Okay, Diaz can't play at the weekend, but Gakpo can play. That's depth. Or Diaz can't play at the weekend, but Doak can play. That's not depth. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just numbers. You need to have it like so. It needs to be
in that you're going to have in, I would say, productivity or production. You're going to have some drop off. That's what you're saying.
just when you're looking at your chances, maybe again, I'm just trying to making this stuff up on the fly. Like, that to me would be like a way of looking at it. Like,
Mhm.
if you've got a 50%, hypothetical drop off between your main guy and his next cab off the rank, his understudy,
Mm.
then you need to have then like it's no good having like say, yeah, Van Dijk might be out, but we've got Nat Phillips, Sepp Vandenberg, and Reese Williams. I mean, Sepp Vandenberg, say from 3 years ago, whatever, that's not depth.
Mhm.
That's yeah, you've
That's
got
just
three
numbers.
players there
Right.
to pick from, but
Right.
the drop off there is way too big. That's not squad depth.
Right.
You can't have it's impossible. Like I said, the hardest thing in the world is get somebody that's good enough to play but happy to sit on the bench and know that, oh, you're as good as Robbo, but you won't play until he's out. So that is the hardest thing in football is to get enough players who are. So I think you're doing well if you've probably got 6 or 7. I think you're doing well. To have equal quality that you can keep them all happy, because keeping them happy is the hardest thing. Footballers want to play.
Yeah.
Right. And that's also why it's very difficult to have a player that is that level where they want. Like I said, it's very similar to the Kelleher situation that we see. I mean, we have depth in our
Yep.
goalkeeper because our goalkeeper is an excellent player. Could start for a number of
Mm.
teams throughout the Premier League, right? However, is he better than our starter? No, Alisson is definitely better. He's one of the best in the world, if not the best in the
Oh,
world.
the best. Mm.
Yeah, there you go. So, like, when it gets to that, okay, yeah, you wouldn't necessarily say, oh, well, he deserves a start over him. He doesn't necessarily deserve to start over him, but he's been a very, appreciated deputy in his state when we've needed him to play for us. As in when injuries have happened, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, or we're in trouble now because Allison is no longer there. We can at least say that
Exactly. That's depth.
Kelleher can still be a comparable goalkeeper to keep us in games. There wasn't
That's
that
depth right there.
right.
That's
And I
exactly
also
what I'm talking. Yeah.
and
But
also
and I
why
think at
yeah, go
right
ahead.
back, just quickly on right back, I think our depth at right back is probably the best in the league. I think Trent and Bradley is probably the two. I don't think there's a better one and two in the league in that position. In fact, I know there isn't.
Okay. And but you could also but Connor Bradley is someone last year that a lot of people were saying, hey, let's sell Trent for or something along those lines, There was
That's what I'm saying. That's how
yeah,
good they are.
yeah.
So it'd be like having a fully fit Kyle Walker and a fully fit Reece James, who's 4 years younger than him.
Mhm.
I think that's the level they're at. I think Bradley getting a lot of teams, like you're just saying with Kelleher, that's it. Like the drop off, I think that's a perfect example of it. Like the drop off from Allison, like is Allison better than Kelleher? Absolutely 100%. He is better than him. Should he
Right.
start and will he start? Absolutely yes, he should and will he. But how big is the drop off if Kelleher plays and Ali doesn't? I'm talking 5% in my head.
Mhm.
It's okay, he's not going to start, but if he does, the drop off is almost nothing. That's the perfect scenario. It's easier to do it with keepers. But I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That the drop off. I mean, look at how many times have we ever walked away from a game and gone, Jesus, if only Ali was playing. If only Ali was playing in that. Keller has never let us down. Not once. And he stood up more often than not and performed.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you could have that in 6 or 7 positions. Oh, here we go.
I see it.
Not
Yeah,
giving
finish your
you
point.
Ugarte.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm not giving you Ugarte. Yeah, no, that was basically my point. That pretty much, yeah, that's all I'm saying. That I think that's a great example of true squad depth is Ali and Kelleher and Trent and Bradley.
See, now this is where I'm getting at it, and too with Tyler's list that he just brought up. For instance, he just brought up that we're talking about squad depth. You brought up
Max
one of the
Kilman.
examples. One
Lord.
of the examples that you utilized was Ben Doak, who I do rate. I think Ben Doak has a very high ceiling. I'm looking forward to see him continue to to develop his skills and develop as a player. Do I think he's
Remind
remotely
me,
levels?
did we loan him?
I'll land.
Sorry, did we loan him? I can't remember because I keep bringing it. Is he still at the club, Ben Doak?
Ben Doak is currently, I believe he's on loan. I'll double check for you.
Yeah, because I couldn't, when I was saying it, I was like, no, Ben Doak's gone, isn't he?
He is gone. Yes,
he's gone.
He's with Middlesbrough.
Oh, okay.
Middlesbrough.
Oh, I missed that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he's gone to Scotland. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, he's not coming in for anyone then. Okay. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So, but you're utilizing Ben Doak as an example. Now we have Chiesa there. It's a big difference. But Ben Doak, though, when he was in that role, there is a considerable gap in talent or quality that you're bringing in. No shade against Ben Doak again. However, he is not the level of a Mo Salah currently. Okay, so there is a drop.
Even his mum wouldn't tell you that. Even Ben Doak's mum doesn't think he's as good as Salah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, he says,
Ben,
I'm going to bring up his comment too. And we can we can go into the 10 players that he uses. But the part that I was going to particularly address is he says, just remember what our needs were, DM and DC, right? Or he was talking about, I guess he's saying basically central defender and a defensive midfielder. So with that said, we certainly could have used a right wing player that is going to be comparable enough to be at least a backup like very, very cognitive to what we just said about Ali and Kelleher. We could utilize a backup to Mo Salah. If you don't think that we could have used a Mo Salah backup, unfortunately, Mo Salah did get injured in AFCON. And when we needed him the most, more so, in that final run, he was one of the players that was unavailable. And thus, we had to scramble and make do with whatever we could put in for that right wing position. So right wing is a position that I believe that we have been in need of for some time. We just have had an incredible choice of a player that has not been, who has been very serviceable in that he doesn't get injured that often. But it's a different case. But you want to say something, Alante? I can say.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I was going to say, with regards to Salah, last season, even at the end when he came back, he was just, and he's done that 1 or 2 seasons for us. At the last bit stage, he just kind of fades away a little bit. Now it's due to injury or maybe a bit of fatigue or just ongoing playing. Sometimes he does that, which again, this is why, as great as he is, I just pray Chiesa is just hit and running, because if Chiesa can be the Chiesa of a little bit of last season, then he'll put pressure on Mo, and then Mo can up his game even more. So yeah, it'll be key. He's gonna be a key one now. Chiesa, he's gonna be a key player in a different sense, not in terms of a starting player, but just as a squad player, because yeah, we're gonna need him at certain parts.
And that was another thing. Before we move on to some of the other topics here, because I know we've been on this
just
topic
those
for a while.
players. Just quickly on
another
those
thing
players.
about that is that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, Ugarte, Jacob Greaves, Minte, Max Kilman, João Felix, Calafiore, even Lenny Yoro. I don't know. Is there a case to be made that they're all cast iron guaranteed better? I mean, Max Kilman. And I agree with Boaty. I agree with Haylord that we needed a centre half and a DM. And what you're saying, like, I wanted 3 players before the window closed, exactly what the 3 that you've been talking about. A centre half, a DM, and a Chiesa, someone that could cover for Salah. That's all I wanted. I just thought we needed 3 things. And we got the last of them, and we didn't get what most people would consider the 2 most important ones, the DM and the centre half. But so if it's about what we needed, I don't know if it's so much about what we needed. If you're just talking about the player and the ability, like, He's better than Minte. He's better than Mats Pfeiffer. He's better than Jacob Greaves.
Yep.
Who was only a young,
Yeah.
like could be a big, huge talent. Like he could be a huge talent. He is massively talented. But
Yeah.
Max Gilman and Calafiore, even Pedro Neto, João Felix, we all saw him at Chelsea.
Right. I mean, because you're putting Pedro
Yeah.
Neto in there, and Pedro Neto has a more checkered history with his fitness than
Okay, so-
Chiesa does. So, and Pedro Neto is a talented player. Pedro Neto, again, a circumstance 4 years ago, Pedro Neto was possibly one of the best players that in the league, or in the league, but best players in the world. But throughout injuries, you know, it's downgraded his reliability. But yet you're holding Chiesa under the same. You're holding Chiesa under the terms of, oh well, he's had an injury, which he's come back from. But Pedro Neto, who's had multiple injuries, which he's come back from, as being a better player, that's interesting.
Minte is good, but he's never done anything. Mats Pfeiffer,
yeah,
Yeah.
just
That's a
Gundogan.
That's a
If you're talking about pedigree, I think Gundogan is a brilliant player and a brilliant signing for us.
Certainly.
I think that's up there. I think Amadou Onana could prove to be a brilliant signing for Aston Villa.
Certainly.
Calafiore,
There's a reason why Ugarte isn't with PSG any longer, though.
it's a bit with Agati, it's his form, and PSG just didn't rate him. He started well, and then with PSG for the first 2-3 months, then he dropped off, and then Luis Enrique didn't rate him anymore. He played, I think, Ruiz, Emre Semri, the young Frenchman, and someone else, Vitinha. Yeah, so he just didn't rate him, and he just didn't play. So yeah.
And that's why.
Ireland scored.
Ireland just scored one of the best goals I've ever seen us score. And
that's awesome.
But wait. It was,
don't celebrate. Don't kiss the camera.
Oh no!
Don't kiss the camera, Brian. Not yet.
Oh, Brian.
No, it was offside by about half an inch.
That's a shame. That's a shame, Brian.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful ball from midfield. And Benny chests it down and volleys it in the top corner from outside the box with his left from about 20 yards. It volleys it in top corner. Just beautiful. But the ball across the pitch was beautiful. And the guy is like, back in the day, he'd give it because it was nothing. You're probably talking about 6 inches offside. Never going to score a better goal than that. He never will. Not going to happen. That was a Van Basten-esque volley into the top corner. Oh, and you could see it. The flag was up straight away, and the kid was just like, "Oh, you're kidding me! You're kidding me!" Anyway, there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I could, some of these names I would agree with are certainly you have a conversation about, but some of them I think are not on the level of Chiesa, unfortunately. But I'll give clarity to what he says. Context says I would take those 10 players in a heartbeat before another winger that we don't need. We could have kept Carvalho or Vandenberg, but maybe Bando for depth. Remember those cup games? Okay. Well.
No, Vandenberg. Oh, hell no. Hell no, Vandenberg. No way. Oh, God, no way. Are you crazy? No way, idiot. Come on. Vandenberg, to do what?
Ask yourself this, Theodore. Would you rather see us playing those, as you say, those cup games with Chiesa on the right or Doak on the right?
Exactly, yeah.
Because I think that's the situation now. I like that bit of depth there. Like, I'm fully in agreement. I would have had the centre half and the DM in as well. But Chiesa's going to get a lot of game time, and Elliot can't play right wing, dude. He just can't. He never has, and he doesn't. He does no pace, man. He's not.
Yeah, he's true, bro. Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. He can. Sorry, bro. Go on.
No, you go ahead, Neil. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, Brian. Yeah, you're completely right. Although we've played him on the right, it's never been comfortable 100%. He's maybe had one or two games, but I can't remember. But yeah, the right wing thing with Elliot, yeah, just play him in the middle or 10. That's all we need. Yeah, and we saw last season what he can do
Yeah,
properly, just
that's
lose. So
essential.
yeah, essential
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, I don't want to see him there. And if I'm honest with you, and I agree with Hilly about sub or right wing. I mean, again, if we didn't send Kazar, then yeah, him don't he can do a job. But I personally want to see Elliot in the 10. Personally, get a start ahead of Subbo. But again, that's just my opinion.
I understand.
Yeah,
And also,
Kays is proper white boy. Kays is just a
Oh
proper
yeah,
wing. That's
oh
that's what we
yeah,
need.
and he's
Sabazai is a
two-footed.
yeah. Like Dom can do it. Yeah, Elliot can do it. But is it their natural position? No. Kays is a
mm,
natural wide man. He wants to be
mm,
out there. Get. I like specialists in that position. I don't like half and half players too much. And I
Yeah,
think Kays is just an out and out winger. He doesn't want to be a 10. He doesn't want to be a 9. He can do it. Yeah, whatever. He just wants to play wide. And I like that. We need
exactly.
width.
Yeah.
We think we're good. We don't seem to cross the ball anymore. I think the last game I was watching, I actually got a bit of a fright when Robbo crossed the ball because I think it was the first time in about an hour somebody actually crossed it.
mhm,
So you get like we're not going to be playing wide and swinging balls into people, but getting wide
Yeah.
and cutting in and taking shots like Salah does. We've seen what he does with how much more involved now Diaz is, and Salah is on fire. This is also a lot to do with the way we're set up. Clearly, the boys are a lot more involved, so that's going to suit Chiesa down to the ground, I would imagine. And he's
mhm.
got pace. It's
Yeah,
so I like it. I mean, again, you give me him or Doak. No offense to Doak, go out and do your thing at Middlesbrough for a year. But I'll take
yeah,
Chiesa in those cup games and those games that we want to rest Salah for, or those half an hour that you want to take Salah off for. I'm taking Chiesa over Doak.
yeah. That's interesting. You have to have a it's a very delicate balance when it comes to squad depth. That's why often when I try to define squad depth, for me, it's about having players that one fit the system, are comfortable with not making waves in the locker room because they're not playing or because they think that they should deserve more minutes or the likes. Um,
That's probably the most important
Also,
thing.
are well tuned to be able to take their opportunities when at hand, as opposed to like, again, complain about not being in the squad and not getting the opportunities, um, or even coming off this pitch when they need to come off the pitch, you know, and have maybe a different approach. And again, with squad depth, it also for me, I like the fact, for instance, with our DM, I understand some people wanted to get a better quote unquote DM or a different DM than what we currently have. I personally I personally did think that Gravenberch could be that player long before. But I also think that Endo provides a different approach or a different option to that DM role that could be important for us when we want to, let's say hypothetically, we want to lock games down and we want to do a more defensive structure, utilizing Endo in that role. He might not have the same skills as a Gravenberch to be able to, turn and burn basically, but he still has you definitely would say that his defensive skills are adequate enough to be that player to have our team transform into the more defensive minded team if necessary. Um, and that's what I like as in squad depth to me is having options or having players that have the versatility to provide uh, those basic functions on the pitch for our team. It's the reason why, again, last point I'll bring up about the squad depth stuff is that we had City be utilized as a reference, and I always kept saying how if you look at Foden or if you look at Alvarez, the reason why a lot of people think they had squad depth is because those two players were very versatile in the positions on the pitch that they could play. They weren't a singular player position type player in that they could only play striker. So if your right winger or your left winger goes down, you're not putting your striker in at left wing, for instance. So Alvarez or Foden especially could utilize so many different roles on the pitch with a player exceptional player as well. That made considerable squad depth, despite not having squad numbers per se. If you really went through the numbers of what they have, and I guess you could say Arsenal's Arsenal's realizing that right now. Actually, it's going to be interesting what happens with Arsenal. I know that the sprained ankle or twisted ankle of Odegaard is something that Arsenal is now going to have to be faced with dealing with. They have quite a few names on their list that are out, which is not good for them. But yeah, we're going to see, like, as in squad depth, it's really going to be put into question. They have some very big games coming up, and whether they can get through them or not, it's going to be very interesting. What is Alexander saying? Some players will miss out the bench. This squad is big. Arsenal's bench will feature some kids now. Yeah, it will. It certainly will. It certainly will. I don't know if you guys saw that injury or not. Did you see the injury that happened to Odegaard?
Oh yeah, hobbling around on his little NHS style 80s crutches. Surprised they didn't have him in some kind of special protective thing. But I just think with the Endo one, I think that if we wanted to be more defensive or be in that kind of way, I don't think it'd be that way that we would be doing it, if you know what I mean. I think we'd be more kind of possession based. So I think Endo has an issue. I just don't, of course he'll get the games, but like you were talking about, the abilities to do things, he'll come in, but he's the guy that would have been the Zubamendi one, and then we'd have Grav and Zubamendi, which is, I think, what might still happen. I think, like, there'll still be 2 or 3 guys that come January, they'll be on the phone with you.
I think
going, look,
even if we did get so many, I think that we would still keep a place.
Oh no, if we gotten the money in for Endo, he would have walked. No, I'm just saying
he's dealt with it. He's actually dealt with this question. He dealt with this question.
I know.
Asked repeatedly.
Was that after the window?
In an interview, and he just dealt with, hey, he's very committed to Liverpool. He's very interested in helping us with our pursuits of silverware, and he's a player that really is committed and devoted to this club. Whatever way that we need to utilize him, he will be there for us. So I appreciate that. And
but that's what I'm saying. That's after the window closed. That's standard PR after the window closed. Everyone's happy to be here. But what I'm saying is going to be 2 or 3 guys come January that will be saying, look, I've got 6 games. Let's do something here. So I think if you had a more technically adept version of Endo, you could see more changes. But he's a good squad utility player. I think him and Gomez and Kelleher, I think they're all going to have one eye on the future now, because they kind of been let know that, well, Kelleher has been trying to get out. The other 2 not playing minutes wise. That's where you can move things, and that's where you can bring in players to give you squad depth without having to lose the bigger players. Like, you could replace Gomez and Endo and say Kelleher, you replace with a Mamrashvili. You could do that across the board, and that's what you were talking about earlier on with future proofing. You could bring the age of an Endo down to a 22, and at the age of a Gomez down to a 22, and they wouldn't be demanding to start. But these guys are, I think they're the next probably that we might see leave. If I'm looking at who do I think will go between now and next summer to make room to bring in these guys, I think Kelleher, Gomez, and Endo are probably the 3 most obvious. And then I think you could bring in kind of high quality younger players without upsetting the balance too much. Because like you mentioned earlier on, the most important thing is guys who aren't going to make waves or create problems just because they're not playing every single week 90 minutes. Because that can sink a ship real quickly, real easy. A messy dressing room with bad characters can sink your ship overnight. So that is the most important thing, is people who buy into, you're not going to play every week. You're not this and that. So you got to navigate that one, I think.
Right.
I think we're doing it pretty well. I like the tight 11 that we have, and people around it know. Well, look, that's the main band there. You know, you got to work your way into it. Those are the boys you got to fight, and if you can get into that, fair play to you.
That's what I really I think it's a delicate balance, and that's why when I hear people say, you know, again, some of these content creators out there talking about, oh, we don't have the numbers or we don't have squad depth, and I'm like, what exactly is squad depth? Like, as and you have to really break that down as to what your definition is, because you know a lot of people's definitions are interpreted differently. You know, I mean, every team has players in it. You know, every team's going to have the 23 or 25 man rosters that are necessary to field a team, but are they all going to have the comparable levels, or are they going to have the right pieces to that selection to be a part of it? I mean, you could, someone could be like, oh yeah, you have squad or not squad depth, but squad numbers, and then you could put a team of, you know, put 10 center backs into a lineup. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have depth. I mean, again, Arsenal has on the books, Arsenal have 10 defenders on their books technically, you know, but when it comes to their midfield, they have 6. And right now they have a player that has a red card that's going to be out for the North London derby. You're going to have Odegaard, who's out most likely because of a sprained ankle, and you have Marino that's still out because of it that he got on the training pitch. That leaves you with 3 players in your midfield technically to rely on, being Partey, Jorginho, and Nawarde. Excuse me. So, and that's the thing. Yeah, he has to start. Now you're making players that, you know, have to be ready and not only willing but ready and mentally stable enough to make start. Whereas you know, they might not be those kinds of players. So. And it all depends.
Just the one other quick thing on what you're saying. The only other fine line you have to, because there'll always be 2 guys in a squad, 2 or 3 guys in a squad who are young and are good and want to get ahead and want to, you know, be pros, and they'll get to a point where they'll be in a certain team and they'll be going home to their wife or their girlfriend saying, doesn't matter how well I play in training, it doesn't matter how well I do it, I won't get in if he's fit. VVD, Salah,
right?
Whoever.
I mean, Simicast. You could argue that Simicast would say that last year.
Yeah, but there'll always be 1 or 2 of those guys that will say, it doesn't matter what I do here. I want to leave. I want to go somewhere else because what I'm doing here doesn't matter, because if that guy's fit, I lose my place. Even if I'm brilliant.
Well,
you'll always have 1 or 2. But no, I'm just saying you'll always have one, like across your 23. You'll always have 1 or 2 guys like that as well. That's ambition. You know, that's so there'll always be, like we're talking, it being almost impossible to keep everybody happy. It will be, but it's just about making sure that when someone comes and says, "Hey, look, I want to do this,"
do you think that? Do you think Origi had? Do you think that Origi had a lack of ambition?
I don't know about his.
I'm just asking a question. I'm not.
Why are you asking about Origi? What do you mean about why Origi?
Only because, like, no, I'm asking because, like, you know, some people question his ambition. That's all. I remember some people, it's like Stevie Nicol and some of the likes, question Origi's ambition because he was content at being a virtual backup on Liverpool rather than going and being a starter on another team.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
did he have? I'm just asking. In your opinion, did he have a lack?
No. When I say about someone like wanting to play because they have ambition, you know, that's like thinking they're good enough to get in a team and play. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody that doesn't want to leave because they're not playing lacks ambition. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, I'm not. I mean, Origi was at the best club he was ever going to be at, and he was happy to, you know, participate in what he was doing. He was happy to kind of be part of what he was while he was there, knowing he wasn't going to start maybe every week. I know everybody's different.
I think that's ambitious. I think that's ambitious too. I think that's ambitious.
I mean, he's reached his ambition.
To check your ego and be able to be a team player as opposed to want to be the star player or be the player out there. Sometimes that's a little bit of ambitious as well.
Humility. It's humility, reality. I'm just saying, like, if a guy is young and he wants to play, I'm just saying he's ambitious. Maybe I used the wrong word. I'm saying he wants to, for like, what I'm saying is, you come home every week from work and you say, it doesn't matter what I do, I won't get picked because he's there. So I'm going to go and play somewhere else so I can go and show it. You'll have that at every, from Bolton to Manchester City. You'll have guys like that who will be just going. That's what I'm saying. Define balancing act is keeping everybody happy, and those players come and go. You always have them. Like, that's
I agree.
fine.
I was asking, just asking a question because I know some people have said the same about. Some people have said the same about Simicast, for instance. I don't think that Simicast is a better player than Robbo personally, but there's some people that said that Simicast creates better options, or Simicast when he's on the pitch is a better player at times than Robbo. I've heard that argument. People saying that Simicast should start over Robbo. We've seen Simicast get on little streaks of his own where he's had some really good games, and yet when it comes to the next game, Robbo starts.
Just that's how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's one of the guys I'm thinking of.
Easily say, "Oh, he's not,"
which is not great,
huh?
But I'm not saying those people. I'm not saying those people will be unhappy per se. But what I'm saying is, you have.
No, I'm not saying he is.
So can you keep them happy? And Simicast, I mean, we forget, like, footballers aren't like one homogenous group of people. Like, they're individual people.
Absolutely.
That react differently to every situation. So you're going to say, oh, what do those 500 people think? Yeah, that's basically what you're saying. We talk about, like, someone. What do those 500? What do they think about something? Can you get 500 people to agree on anything? No. All these guys have a completely different way of looking at everything. So you've got guys that are sitting there going, my ambition is to get the biggest contract possible, or my ambition is to play for Liverpool, or my ambition is to win something with Real Sociedad, my hometown club, or my ambition is to get to Vasco da Gama, whatever it might be. If that's your ambition, if you've made it, like, I think of someone like Origi, he's going to be looking at going, what's ambitious mean to him? He's made it at the biggest. He's been involved in some of the biggest moments that he's ever going to be involved in, one of the biggest clubs in the world. That's ambition, to get to there and get, like, to leave then is to walk away from that.
Well done. Well done.
You walk
That's
away
all I've been.
that.
The reason why I offered up ambition as a word in Room 101, man, because ambition is one of the most overused words, and there's so many different interpretations that you could have with what is ambition. Ambition for one is not ambition for another. And it's just one of those things where sometimes I'm like, yeah.
Maybe what was Stevie Nicks' ambition? To end up shouting at people on ESPN for money? I mean, well, if that was your ambition, Stevie, well done. You've nailed it, man.
Oh, Stevie, I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. Not saying Irishman is either, but I'm just saying. Shots fired.
Make your money, Stevie.
It's all love. Hey, this is a question that I saw that you talk about Twitter Talk Tuesday. I'll ask Delonte first, and I'll ask Irishman for his opinion. And tell me in the chat what your opinion is too, so we can be included in the conversation. And that is, do you think that Saka is a better player than Rodrigo? There's an argument on Twitter right now. It was trending a while back, at least, that Saka is a better player than Rodrigo. Alante, do you have an opinion on that? Do you think straight out? Do you think Saka is a better player than Rodrigo? Oh,
yeah.
I see you're not on mute, so that you might be available. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
No, I think I think Saka's better than Rodrigo.
You think so? Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Irishman. I mean, if you want to elaborate, you're more than welcome.
I just think with Saka, like the last, I mean, although Rodrigo is in and out of the Madrid team. Like, sometimes he plays, sometimes he doesn't. And I think with Rodrigo, he's not consistent enough. He has good games and he has bad games. He's not consistent with his play at moments. And obviously, you know, Finney is more of a valuable player. And Saka, for he's built up, you know, for the last 2 seasons, he's been consistent now. So he's got some kind of consistency. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's to me, I think Saka's a better player. If I'm honest.
Wow. Okay. Irishman, do you think that Saka is a better player than Rodrigo?
I'm no expert on Rodrigo. I mean, I've seen a whole lot of Saka. I really have. I've seen all of them with England. You see all the Arsenal, most of the Arsenal stuff on TV, or so I've seen like for every 1 minute of Rodrigo, I've seen 50 of Saka, I suppose. Rodrigo's a great player. He really is. But I'd go probably, yeah, I'd say similar to Nolante because I think technically, you know, just in terms of ball striking, dribbling, pace, all of that, there isn't probably much. There's not enough between them to really make a huge argument about it. They're both technically very
Yeah,
gifted. And then,
agree.
so you're talking about like Saka, but Saka for a kid, I know Rodrigo's young as well, huge club. But yeah, I think for Saka has been incredibly consistent for Arsenal over the last 3 seasons now. The numbers he's put up, forms he's put in, week out, uh, all while being, you know, almost in a kind of an old school fashion. As much as Arsenal fans always talk about this, and everybody thinks their club is, you know, the worst offended against, but that guy gets kicked all over the park every single game. Not saying nobody else gets kicked. Lots of people get kicked. No, I'm not saying he's the only player in the world ever to get fouled, but he was the most fouled player in the Premier League in the top three up there. So he gets kicked all over the place. He's a young kid.
Right.
And he got absolutely destroyed by the tabloid media and people online when he missed a penalty in the way that we all know usually happens. And the mental strength that he showed to come back, I thought was really impressive. So there's a lot to admire and know about him, but I know a lot more about Saka. Like I've just been talking, I know a lot about him. I've followed his career a bit because those kids that get thrown under the bus by the media to see him come back, there's nothing better than that. And to see him stick 2 fingers up to those tabloid types. Rodrigo, if you say that he's really inconsistent, I'd believe you. I mean, I see him in the Champions League every now and again. So, I mean, I reckon they're probably about 9 out of 10 players. But just from having seen a lot more of him, I'd have to kind of say Saka because, like I say, I mean, I just remember that Rodrigo performance against PSG. Do you remember he scored like 2 goals in a minute in the semi
Oh
final when they
yeah,
came back in that crazy comeback? I just kind of really remember that game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but he's someone I wanted. I wanted as a long term Salah replacement. I was saying last summer, if Saudi were coming in with 150 for Salah, he would have been someone that I would have said, go and get him. Because he literally plays in the same position. And I'd seen him do really well. But yeah, what I know about him, I could write down on, 2 lines of paper, really. So I think Nolante, I don't know, what way are Twitter going? I'm imagining it's all like, it's basically Arsenal fans are voting for Saka and the rest of the world is probably voting for Rodrigo. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of people that were kind of shooting it down saying that's absurd, but their numbers are very, very close when you look at the number of games played and actually goals and assists. Saka
I won't split
has
them.
technically more goals and assists in all
Here it
combined
goes.
competitions than Rodrigo, but only by like 3 or 4. It's not like it's some astronomical number there of a difference.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't.
Um,
That's not a debate. That's not a debate I'd want to get into because it's like debating, like who's better, this world class player or that world class player. It's like, come on, man, they're both just world class players. Like you could have them both, but like I say,
right.
like Klopp made a huge. I think he basically came out and said it. Like we tried to break him out of his Arsenal, the tribunal job. We tried to get him before
Yeah.
he signed his first deal at Arsenal, where like a Harvey Elliott type job. And Klopp is on record as saying like, yeah, that kid is that kid is something special. We really wanted him.
Mhm.
Tried to get him when he was there. I think he's 16, 17, and then he signed his Arsenal deal. And I think he tried to get Martinelli as well. But
He did. He did.
You know, so Saka, I have a lot of time for Saka, especially, like I said, the whole media thing, what he went through and what they tried to do to him, the way he came back. It's great.
Yeah.
Shows great strength of character, especially in that country, man. When they go after you, they go after you.
I go as far as to say it shows ambition. No, just joking. I don't know. I didn't take a poll of the numbers, but it was pretty much this, like you said, the breakdown was pretty much Arsenal supporting their guy, Real Madrid fans supporting their guy when it came to it. And I remember that it was the loudest voice that I heard on there, at least, was Igal from the Arsenal supporter Igal, basically making the point of how Saka is a better player than Rodrigo. But it's just a little
bit sad. I just think it's a little bit sad these days that pretty much every Liverpool and Man United fan, like we just proved differently, but every Liverpool Man United fan in the world would have just gone on that and just immediately just said Rodrigo because the guy plays for Arsenal. So. They wouldn't be able to actually look at it and go, well, actually, no, I think he's better. And not like it has to be banter now. It just all has to be tribal and banter and all of that. No one can just sit there and go, as a Liverpool fan, yeah, I consider and say Saka is probably better than that guy. So, I didn't know can't be like that. So it's, I'd just rather have, a proper discussion about it. I mean, if they were both playing, if Ancelotti had both of them, do you think Rodrigo is a 100% shoe over Saka?
If you had to pick a player to come to Liverpool, which one would you pick?
Nadante. They're both going to cost you 100 million. They're both going to cost you 100 million.
They're both going to cost you the same amount of money. Same amount of money.
They both want 300 grand a week.
Same wages. Everything.
Yeah.
Same. They'll sign the same deal.
Because that's not unrealistic. That isn't an unrealistic thing. They'd probably both cost about 100 million, and they probably both want 300 grand a week.
Yeah. What would you do? Netherlands just tied it up by the way, 2-2.
Okay, he's good. Was it Bobby?
Dumfries scored.
Oh, Dumfries. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Denzel
Dumfries.
Ireland are 1-0
down. Okay. Sorry.
The person is 60th.
Sorry, bro.
Go ahead. England is up, by the way, too.
I just saw the goal from Harry Kane. Great strike. Typical Harry Kane strike. Yeah. Yeah, he cares. But anyway. So you're saying before 12 in terms of the wage, if you had the choice, who would take out Saka or Rodrigo?
Yeah.
Both players are on.
Saka.
Both
Saka.
The thumbs up. Who you going with, Saka or Rodrigo?
Saka. Yeah, okay. I'll go with Saka. Yeah.
Who would you guys go for in the chat too? I'd love to know who you guys would go for, Saka or Rodrigo.
Salah's leaving. On a free.
Yep.
I've 100 million spent on someone, and Salah's wages, and it's Rodrigo or Saka.
Yep.
So
basically,
what are we doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Hello, Marion, too, by the way. And hello to Alexander as well, and Honesty joining us, Bonkers joining us just recently. Big up to all you guys.
And Hollywood Rock.
Rock, yes, I see that now too. Yep. Big up.
He'd go for Rodrigo. He wants Rodrigo.
Okay.
Like I'd go with Saka as well, purely because, like I said, he's prime proven. He can. Mm-hmm. He started out left back for them. He's versatile. Play left, play right. But I think he's great on right. He probably worked really well at Trent as well. Actually, that's another point.
That's what I was about to say. About to say.
Combo, yeah.
So
I saw a video on them talking about like their link up play. There was like some link there. He was talking about how he talks to the players the same way he talked to Gordon for that pass. Actually, he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to get you this pass. As soon as you see this happen, don't look back." He said the same thing to Saka. He's like, "As soon as the circumstance happens, I'm not going to look up and alert the entire team that I'm about to make a pass to you." He was just like, "I'm just going to deliver it and just start running," And
that's the thing. That's what the amount of disguise that he puts on things, he's not gonna, like you just said there. That's the main point. He's not going to be looking up and pointing, going, "Go, man! I'm about to pass it." It's like, no, I'm going to be looking the other way, pretending I'm about to do something else, and then I'm going to bend this into you from 60 yards away. There ain't going to be no. I mean, you got to be ready because I'm going to fucking no look past this. If that's they need to, like, look, man, if you see that space, go, because even if I'm looking the other way or my body shape doesn't look right, I'm going to play that ball. And that's what they need to know. Right. Yeah, that's fair enough. You do need to tell someone that. It's like, no, man, look, I'm going to hit you, even if it looks like I'm not, because that's my thing. I'm not going to. Yeah, he's not going to signpost it.
That's just what I do.
He's not going to signpost it. He's not going to be standing there like Harry Maguire pointing, go, 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 and 3 seconds later he plays the fucking ball. No, Trent is like, bang, it's off. So that's how you get in. That's the only way you're going to get in. That's 3. That's 3 for Rodrigo.
Okay. On the Rodrigo train.
Oh, no, the chat's on Rodrigo. The chat is going for that Brazilian. I would not be surprised. I figured Mary would go. She likes the Brazilian flair. So I can understand that one, but the chat is certainly going heavily towards Rodrigo. I would go with Saka too.
Both would be awesome. Both would be awesome if Rodrigo was happy. I mean, if you're just talking about all the X factors in terms of will they settle, the language, the culture, all of that is out the window at Saka. It's done. That's not an issue. With Rodrigo, that's the only. All those things are kind of in the balance sheet. It's, but I would, like I said earlier on, last season when I thought Saudi were going to come in and get Salah, I thought, well, look, if we got 100 million to go and try and break somebody out, because you're going to have to break somebody out, break a Rodrigo out of Madrid, offer them stupid money. I would love to see it, because you're not getting Saka. Come on, he's not. I mean, that you're not going to get him. Rodrigo, maybe you could, because I was thinking they're going to get Mbappe, they're going to get Endrick. They're going to have Vinny. They're going to have Bellingham. Maybe there's a player there that can be moved. That's the way I thought about it. But he came out since said, "I ain't going anywhere." And I'm like, why would you, mate? You're at Real Madrid. You're just guaranteed to win pots every year. Like, so, yeah, it's fanciful. Both of them would be very, very difficult to bring in. So,
yes, certainly. I wanted to get into this too because I know Curtis Jones has returned to the pitch, to the training pitch, and he is a very, very important player for us to have join back to the club, because apparently Harvey Elliott might be out for a little bit of an extended period. I know that Harvey was dealing with some type of injury that took him away from his national team duties. I wanted to double check though and make sure, because I did see a report saying that Harvey might be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Did you see this or no? Have you seen anything? Okay, let me double check on that. I hope that's not the case for Harvey.
No, Rodrigo plays on the right, Rodrigo plays on the right for Madrid. Vinny plays on the left. Yes. Rodrigo plays on the right. Saka plays on the right. He can play on the left. He started off as a left wing back and left back for Arsenal, but not as an actual left back. They just brought him in there as a kid to get him some minutes and get him in the team. But maybe if Rodrigo can play on the left, but a lot of these guys can play both sides. But Rodrigo is mainly right-sided for Madrid because Vinny has the left side locked down. So, pretty sure he could do. I don't know. Someone can say, "Oh, that's not his actual preferred position," but I know him as a right-sided, not a right winger, but a right-sided forward. Rodrigo, I mean.
Let me double check here on this Harvey Elliott. That might be just Twitter talk. I saw Enz post something about it too. So, but he was basically retweeting someone's comment. So, I don't want to say whether Harvey is seriously or 6 to 8 weeks. That's a serious injury. That's something to talk about. Hopefully, that's not the case for young Harvey.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case. I don't see anything on Liverpool's injury list. The only injury update I see is Curtis Jones returning, which I think will be good. I think Curtis Jones return will be good. I know that there was talk about, again, this not to beat a dead horse, about the depth part. If Gravenberch, we're going to see possibly the first real signs of squad rotation in this next matchup. I believe that this is going to be the real first. I know that Brian's spoken on like how the lineup pretty much picks itself in a sense, and we've kind of established who's going to be in that starting lineup for this team. But I also think that this upcoming week is probably going to be the first real rotation where you're dealing with rotation for the purposes of workload and the likes. What do you see the pivot being if we needed to rotate the pivot position on this team? What would you see as being the rotated pivot for you that you would be comfortable in seeing? We'll go with Irishman, then we'll go to Nolante.
I don't think we're going to rotate in the league yet. So I think it's too early. There's no need for it.
Mm-hmm. But let's just say hypothetically, if that's the case for this game.
Yeah, when we do, it's not. See, I don't really see the place for Endo. You see, I think Jones is a more likely guy to come in instead of Gravenberch maybe than Endo is, because he's stylistically similar. But how fit is he? So if you're talking about we're kind of like, that's the thing. If you take out the pivot, so you're saying let's go on McAllister and Gravenberch to pivot. So if you were to replace that, who would you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would that be? Would that be Jones and Morton? Would that be Jones and Dom and Elliott comes in further forward? You see, that's why I don't see mass rotation. I think Jones is probably more likely to come in a Gravenberch situation than an Endo is, just because it's like bringing in.
I agree with that.
A winger for a number 9. You know, they're two, like Endo and Gravenberch are completely different. Whereas Jones is pretty similar to Gravenberch. But then who do you bring in the other side? I don't think we can. I think it was still play Mac. It is. That's what I'm talking. Like Elliott and Jones, to me, is our second choice in two of those. But like Elliott in the 10, Jones in the McAllister role, or Jones in the Gravenberch role. But then it still leaves you having to use one of McAllister or Sabasa. So I'm not sure. That's because this is what I was talking about last time. I'm really, really interested to see what this guy does, and we haven't seen it yet. So I want to see it. I would love to see a game tomorrow where he made 9 changes, so we could see what he does and how different it is.
Okay.
I think that because I'm really interested in the way he's playing and what he's doing with stuff. But until we've seen him do it once, at least do it once, where it's like, yeah, say we're playing at home against Morecambe in the FA Cup, and he literally changes the whole team. That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, something like that, where it's like, okay, how does he use that guy? How does he use that guy? Because I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll catch us by surprise a little bit in terms of who he uses and what he does. And I'm hoping it does, because I don't want us to be predictable. You know, I'd like to see him have new ideas and things that we're not predicting, not anticipating. That's what I'm looking forward to. But we, like you were saying, we literally have had no rotation game yet. It's just been Premier League, Premier League, Premier League. And why change it? So you're waiting for that maybe AC or what is Bologna, the Bologna game? Maybe 3 or 4 in that.
When is the Bologna game?
That could be no. I mean,
I'll
that
tell
could
you
be the
this.
one I think where we see. That's the
Yeah.
next. That's the first one I think where we might see 3 changes, 4 changes, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like a Simi and a Gakpo and a Jones and a Chiesa instead of a blah 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 blah.
Mhm. So we have the Forest game up next. Then on the 17th, we travel to AC Milan. And then the
Oh, it's Milan
20th,
is the first game. Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought Bologna was the first game. Okay, Milan.
no. Yeah, we travel to Milan first, and then we host Bournemouth on the 21st. So it's the 14th, 17th, and 21st that we have 3 games. And we have, we're certainly, I believe we're going to see some type of rotation. I think rather than see a heavy rotation, I'd rather see 2, 3 players rotated in uh, for the for the Forest game that prepares us for that Milan game. That in essence will prepare us for that Liverpool home game against Bournemouth. You know,
But
whereas I
if you
rather
look at Forest with Chris Wood up front, right? That guy is a massive problem. Okay, so that means no. That means Canada or Ebo and VVD, right? To me, that you're not going to Forest big strong team.
yeah
So
yeah
what do you change? Where do you change it? Do you change it Gakpo for Diaz? Do you change it Nunes for Jota? Do you
I
change
yeah for this upcoming
where
game
do
I
you
would
change? That's what I'm saying.
yeah
Where are the changes? Where would you want? Because I wouldn't want to change any of the back 4, 5, including Ali. I
mhm,
wouldn't want to change the midfield 3, and I wouldn't be in a rush to change any of the front 3.
okay
So I'm just wondering where would you like? I was saying, okay, look, if I was saying, okay, let's change one. Okay, Gakpo for Diaz to give Diaz a break after a long trip to South America. Um, Simi for Robbo, maybe to give Robbo a break.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
would you be changing? I mean, where you're not dropping Salah. I'm not dropping.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want to drop Trent per se because I think Trent is
Uh,
probably would take that offensively. Give
He
me
needs
that
to
drop.
back up, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. He can all be rested. He plays all the time. Tired of his moaning for no reason, honestly.
Yeah.
Need to rest these players, like I said. They don't
Yeah.
want to be here. They don't want to go. That if they're not happy about that, then go. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna have any football player try and moan about being rested.
Well, you might see that in TAA, but
I'm
uh,
sure, yeah.
you know, so with the back 4, I mean, obviously I'd start Ali, but with the back 4, I don't know if I would start Simicast over Robbo.
I don't think so either.
I would just manage his minutes. I would just give Simicast like 20, 30 minutes or something like that. Maybe rotate him in at the 70th minute or something like that. Maybe even deeper into it. But I wouldn't start him over Robbo. Same with Connor. I wouldn't start Connor over Trent, but I certainly would consider, depending on how the game is going, to have Connor play out the last 20,
Yeah,
25
but
minutes.
just
But
yeah, that's subs. But in terms of rotation,
yeah, now I was going to
in
get into
terms
it.
of start,
I'm about to get
yeah.
into positions. So then the midfield, again, if I had to, the initial question was if you had to rotate that pivot, who would you rotate the pivot to become? Personally, I wouldn't. I would do Gravenberch I would do Gravenberch subbed out for Jones, in that I think that Jones isn't necessarily as comparable in that role as we've seen Gravenberch be, but I think that despite Grava doing exceptionally well in that spot, I think that Curtis Jones has some skill sets that can allow for him to perform well in that role as well. I think that's what he was basically talking about too. So I did see that. Okay, honesty, I did see that. That's what I was just reporting on earlier, or not reporting, but announcing earlier. And I'm not certain if I haven't seen. I've been looking for some updates on that. I hope that it's not 6 to 8 weeks. That would be horrible. That'd be a major setback for Harvey. I know that he left again. I know he left the national team early to be reevaluated by Liverpool. But for it to be 6 to 8 weeks, I'd like to know what it is that's causing the 6 to 8 weeks. But getting back to what I was saying, I would see Jones in for Gravenberch if necessary. And then personally, I know that Endo does not perform the same duties or skills that a Maka does. However, if I were to take Endo, I would anchor him. I make him into it was what they call an anchor DM, but I would make him more
2-0.
What's that?
No, England scored again, 2-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would make him into an anchor DM and allow for Cujo to do a lot more of the venturing forward and not have Endo wouldn't do a lot of that for me. And then obviously continue to have Dom there. Dom could play the 6 too. He could play that pivot role as well. If we don't have Elliott, like we might not have for 6 to 8 weeks, that's a different story. Now you got to figure out who you're going to put in that mid row. Maybe Chiesa could play that cam then for us in that role as well. And then for the front three, I would have. I believe that I believe that Nunez is going to start this upcoming matchup. I'm giving my spoilers away for my updates or my lead in the preview, but I believe Dom's going to start for us in this.
Nunez.
Yeah. Or I say Dom. Nunez.
Okay.
I meant Nunez. That's because I was just saying. Thank you.
I would. I will. If Jones starts. The injuries or whatever, but if Jones is to start over Gravenberch, Endo won't start. I don't like. This is the thing we're talking about, like systems. You're talking about not having depth by not having a player that fits the system, and like we'll play an anchor role with Endo. I don't think he won't want to use an anchor. He won't want to change what he does. That's not what he does. So he's not going to use that kind of player to do that. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, that's not what we do. So why do it with it? I mean, this is a league. I think we're getting a bit too ahead of ourselves in terms of what we need to change. We don't really need to change that much. I think it'll be exactly the same team that started the last game. And I'll sing the British national anthem live on this channel if Jones starts over Gravenberch, because Jones hasn't played a minute of football.
I'm not saying he's going to start. I'm not saying again. I'm not. I was just saying if there was a need to rotate in the pivot, that's what I would do.
I was just trying to ask people who they would rotate for the Forest game. Like that, it was just a straight up question. Who would you rotate for the Forest game?
Okay, I was asking the initial question. I was answering my.
I know, but I was just thinking. To me, it's just like who's out. Like it's not about who, because it's very easy to say, this guy can play. This guy is brilliant. Look how good he is. But it's like, yeah, but who are you dropping? Like, I mean, the first question is, who do you drop? Who are you leaving out of the team? Not, let's talk about how great our players that haven't started games are. Because, of course, they're great. But the first question to me is, well, who are you going to leave out? Like, are you going to drop Robbo? No. Well, then, Simi doesn't start. Are you going to drop Grava? No. Are you going to drop Mo? Are you going to drop Diaz? Are you going to drop Jota? No. Mac? No. If they're all fitting well. So that's the first thing is like, okay, who needs to come out of the team? Now, maybe there's a red line issue with a player. Like a Jota, it's like where the medics are going, yeah, look, he played, like Trent's played 2 games. Jota might have played a lot of minutes, probably hasn't, known Portugal. But maybe there's a player that comes back, Diaz, say. And you go, look, he's had a lot of minutes, a lot of games. He could do the rest. I think that's when this will happen first. And that probably, I don't know, like you said, Colombia are playing Argentina tonight, yeah?
Yes.
So what's that, Tuesday night? I'm assuming that's the final game. So there's at least a decent.
Yes, these
gap.
are the final. These are the final games for some of these
They're
teams.
not going to be showing up 18 hours ahead of a game like they were last.
Exactly. It's not going to be.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
just don't
apparently
see.
Mac-10 will not start for Argentina today. That's what
Okay,
honestly.
which is understand.
Yeah.
It's understandable because Argentina are kind of clear in the group. They're doing well, so yeah, he doesn't need to start really.
Mhm.
You know what?
It's
To be fair, I would. Sorry, with the regarding the Forest game, I would rest a few. I know we've got to play. I would, yeah, like you saying, 12. I agree with about three changes. I mean, I don't think it will affect us that much.
Yeah.
But who's your two? Tell me. That's what I'm interested to
Okay.
know. Who
No,
do
for
you?
me, Brian's.
Nunez is one. Nunez is one for me.
No,
Oh, one.
Nelantes.
Okay.
Oh no,
For me, I'll start Simicast ahead of Robbo, Endo ahead of Gravenberch,
Okay.
and the third one will probably be. I'm like you. I'm between Gakpo or Nunes. Nunes, yeah. Actually, I would start Nunes actually
Over.
over Jota
Mhm.
for the Forest game. Yeah, those will be the three I'll start because we've got. What was it?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Walter.
No, I was going to say because of the AC Milan game, and again, those three changes shouldn't. Yeah, my thing shouldn't affect the teams that much for us not to beat Forest, you know.
Mhm.
And then obviously, AC during the week, you're going to start your strongest 11, like fitness permitted. So yeah,
Yeah, because that game's important because that's one of
yeah,
the harder games on
exactly.
the on the list of games that you have for
Yeah,
Champions League. I would say that's one of the harder games to look. I get Real Madrid. There are going to be shots for Real Madrid as being a very hard game. It's going to be shots for Leverkusen being a very hard game. That's obvious, but it does help that those games are at home as opposed to on the road. So,
yeah.
so with that said, I think that there's a added complexity when it comes to games on the road, and you have to
Still
draw.
1-0. Oh, sorry.
Go
It's
ahead.
still 1-0 to Greece. Barney's
Yes.
just asking the score. It's still 1-0
Yes,
to
it
Greece.
is. It is. Big up, Jimmy. Big up, Jimmy. I see you in the house. Big up.
You know, Jimbo.
Yeah, I'd rather see again. Rather than a wholesale type change. I rather see 2-3 names on change up in the list in that list, and B changes where it's just let's just get everyone minutes. Let's continue to utilize work and maintain a good balance of minutes played as opposed to you just start because you're the best player type thing. Just if it means managing your minutes a little better this year, then I would rather see that than you be come December, January, or the likes be already washed out a little bit.
Cheat.
I have a real quick question too, because there's some questions I have in the chat too. I'm going to bring up these questions.
I'm just quickly with Atlante. I'm on that as well, but I'm on I'm not saying we there's an 11 and it's the 11. What I'm saying is right now there's an 11, and I think if you can get 5 to 6 games out of this team, and you can put down a serious marker on the board points wise, you're not flogging a team after 6 to 8 games. This is the way I'm looking at him doing this. This isn't me saying this is what you should do. This is what I think he's looking at doing with this team. Because he's still learning a lot about these players. Every day he's learning about these guys he's never trained before. So he's putting in the 11 that he knows works. And he's putting that in. And then he's going, right, let me see what else I've got behind it. Okay, I need to work on this guy. I need to work on Nunez with this. I need to work on Gakpo with that. I need to work on Endo with this. Because these boys, these 11, they got it right away. But I got another 6 here who are quality. But they just need to understand my ideas a little bit better, and I need to understand them as players a little bit better. Certainly, and that's going to take time.
I think that's what's happening. Getting him back to the training pitch is going to be important.
Yeah, he's got basically his clutch 11 in there. The guys that he knows, look, guys, today 4-2-3-1 high press. You got me, and they're like, yeah, of course we do. Okay, cool. Now the other guys, I want you to do this. They need that bit more training on what they need to be and where they need to be and what they need to do. That is what I see happening here. And he's just putting in that team that can kind of let it run. Like Brendan Rodgers saying, it's like trying to build an airplane while it's already flying, because the league is starting and you're still trying to build your team. You've got to put those guys in there who can get you to your destination while you work on the bits behind the scenes and make them better. And they will slowly come into the team. You will see more from them. But I just think what you're seeing now is that level of player that we have in that 11 that don't need that much coaching to understand these high level instructions and tactics. It's like, yeah, cool. I can trust these guys. Let me work with the other boys now. That's how I look at it. And then slowly you will see the introductions.
Okay.
And the improvements, hopefully, because like someone said earlier on, not name a player who's gotten worse on her, but he has a track record for improving people all the time.
Yeah. Well, there was some questions in the chat that I wanted to bring up, so I'll bring this up to the panel. One's addressed straight to me, I would say. So, yeah. Has LFC a top 3 Premier League player?
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Position in our first 11 squad. Yeah. So are you? I guess he's asking: is in when you go down our lineup, are all the players at least top 3?
Yeah. Is each one of our first 11 in the top 3 in the Premier League? And I would say easy, yes. You can go through them if you want. Ali top 3, Trent top 3, VVD top 3, Ibu, okay, maybe.
I would say Ibu top 3.
I mean, but it's not a lock.
It's not a lock, but I would say
Robbo top 3. McAllister top 3.
Yes.
Gravenberch, okay, top 3. Yeah, okay. Again, not a lock, but it's
not a lock, but I'd say at the moment, depending on your interpretation.
Yeah.
He's had some as of currently, yeah. Currently, as his form and play, I would say he's top 3, but you might not say he's top 3 before. Have said he's top 3 before.
Diaz, I think it's a shout.
Diaz, I think is one of the most informed players in the league.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're talking like even on his worst days, he's top 5. Salah's top 1.
Salah's top
3. Jota's top 3.
Yes, I think Sal. I would take Jota or Hata, however you want to pronounce it. I take Diego over Ollie Watkins. I take him over Dominic Solanke. You know,
Christ, who's the other guy? That's good. That's just signed for somebody. Guy at Tottenham. Yes. No, Son. He's not.
Son. I guess
sorry.
I was considering Son. I was looking at Son as a left wing, not as a striker. But I know he's
Havertz even.
Yeah, I'll take Jota over Havertz any day of the week.
Yeah.
Twice on Sundays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of answers that.
The only player right now in the league that I would absolutely be ruthless in every single way for, other than because I don't want cyborg guy, I don't really. But the only player right now that I wouldn't care who we have to sell for is Cole Palmer. I would have Cole Palmer in this team.
Yeah.
Immediately. He's better than Foden. This guy is on a different level. On a completely different level. And I'd have him in the team tomorrow. Man City, man, I don't know what they did. I've watched a couple of videos on this guy. There's a particularly good one I saw yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I have kind of fallen in love with this kid a little bit, even though I hate everything about his career. Man City, England, Chelsea. Mm-hmm. This kid is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Stone cold, like you're talking about. He has that thing that you cannot teach, which is just stone cold. His heart rate does not go up.
Yeah,
That kind of guy. He's in a World Cup final. He's playing his back garden. Doesn't care.
He doesn't shy from the spotlight.
World Cup final in Brazil, playing in his back garden. Same heart rate. Same heart rate. That's the kind of kid this is. It's just I would have him over absolutely. But so we're talking about the people that came into the league this year, the 10, and that 10. I mean, Hyler did well to put together 10 players that he could make a case for. A fair play to you. But look at that 10 players. Is that a list of the greatest players? I mean, that's just a list of bang average players and some good ones.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
there
could be people out there that are going to argue, well, Robbo's fallen off, or Robbo's this, Robbo's that. I'm like, still though, it's a measure of, you look at the other left backs. You asked me to see the top 3 left back in the Premier League. I think absolutely. Yeah. I'm not
name 3 better. Name 3 better.
Even a diminished, quote unquote, skill wise, Robbo, or a diminished level of his previous peaks in his career, Robbo still is top 3 left back in the league.
You can't name 3. Nilante, name 3 better left backs than Robbo.
Dylan. Yeah.
Spit hot fire. I spit hot fire.
Yeah, I spit hot fire. Oh, classic. Always makes me laugh. You're right, Brian. You're right. I can't. No, I'm just thinking. No.
And again, like
I'm not having.
I know there's someone can make an argument against Dom being top 3. I get that.
Yeah, I don't think he's top 3 yet. I think he might prove to be top 3.
Same with Grab.
I'm not dying on that hill. I'm not dying on that hill.
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't put those 2 up to be, locks as being top 3. But I would certainly. But you can make an argument as to, if we're just talking about pure form and current form and the likes, you could argue that we have the best midfield in the Premier League right now. You could argue that, at least with the results that we're getting from the midfield.
2-0 Greece, Barney. It's 2-0 Greece.
Yes.
Okay.
Next question is this. This is a question. Do you guys see Ryan pass? Oh, what a beauty! I'm telling you. No, I'm not going to pass that one. And I also will go with question. What about Trey Neone? He is killing it at the moment. He is doing really well, by the way. He is doing really well. He scored in his last game, I believe.
Under 21s, man. He's really ripping. He will get a chance.
He's another player that will see an opportunity with this club, with this team this year, I believe. He will have
my pick for the breakout year.
Yeah,
he was my pick. We did something like this a couple of weeks ago, some version of this, and he was my pick for guy that will surprise people and start playing games. I thought he might be, like I was saying about the slot stuff earlier on, about trusting all the guys first, but it might take a while. I don't think it'll happen immediately now, just looking at what he's doing. But I think once we get to the point where there's minutes to spare, as it were, or, there's games that you can be given, I reckon he'll be hopefully one of the first names on the list.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we all know who he is. Like I was talking about it before the United game, we were talking about Gravenberch, and I was saying, like, it's brilliant. And we all know how good he's been. And as Liverpool fans, we're talking about how good he's been. But what I was saying, what would be brilliant for him is if he does this against Man United. Because the day after you do that against Man United, everybody else who isn't a Liverpool fan will be talking about you. There'll be pieces in the paper about this Ryan Gravenberch guy. Yeah. And there was. The next day, front page on The Guardian, Ryan Gravenberch.
Yep.
Profile piece. Yep. You're not going to get that if you play well against Brentford, but you'll get it if you do against Manchester United. So now other people
or against Chelsea, or against or if it's against
bunkers.
That's a breakout moment. That is a breakout moment to me, and that's what he needed to do in that game to prove to everybody, even it's only Brentford and Ipswich people, and then to introduce himself to everybody else across the world. And the next thing you know, you're a name now. You were a name before. People forgot about you because it didn't go well at Bayern. But you just dominated midfield against Manchester United. Casemiro gets taken off at half time. Now you're a thing, and people are talking about you. So I'll be expecting something similar to happen to Trainioni in about 6 months, where we've all been talking about him, and then he'll get a start. He'll play really, really
He'll have his
well, and
Conor
then there'll
Bradley
be
moment.
then you'll see all the pieces in the paper going, Trainioni, England's next this, England's next that. And outside of the Liverpool media, it's when they hit that outside bit, that's when you know they've made it. And I'm hoping, really hoping, he gets his breakthrough moment this season. Definitely. Because he's got all the talent in the world.
Last question I'll bring up here then is also from Honesty. He says, question, who is better, Akanji or Saliba? I would still go Saliba, but
yeah, same. Akanji is very underrated. He's a very good defender, to be honest. But yeah, Saliba.
Yeah.
Saliba.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Akanji. I think they get talked about for what they do, but they picked him up for something like 16 million.
Yeah, dirt cheap. Dortmund.
Cost him nothing, and he is quality. But he's one of those Pep guys. Right back, left back, centre half, left back, right back, centre half. Every game,
he's a Dutch player. Yeah, another very versatile Dutch player. Yeah,
I don't think he's Dutch.
He's Swiss. 12. He's Swiss.
Yeah, he's Swiss. Yeah.
He missed the penalty in the Euros.
Not bad. Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very. But you're not far wrong. Very similar in the Dutch school. Very similar style of player. He can play a lot. But yeah, 16 million quid. I mean, it shows you even the likes of City can go out. Now, they probably had a free run at him, because they were City,
Yeah.
If someone else could have matched the bid, he was probably always going to go there. But it shows you, bargains, not bargains, but, money can be spent and you can get good players out there. It doesn't always have to be that £90 million centre half.
Yeah. That Argentina-Colombia game has just kicked off, by the way. In the starting lineup, excuse me, Martinez, Alvarez, Gonzalez, Fernandez, Paredes, DePaul. Let's see, Martinez, the vegan butcher on the left, Romero, Otamendi, and Montiel, and Martinez.
He must be about 40.
And for Colombia, they have Diaz, Duran, Jaime Rodriguez, good again, Arias, Alarma, Rios, Munoz, Mosquera, Lukimi, Mojica, and Vargas starting in net. So looks like Lucho is getting the start for this one. And also looks like, let's see if he's on. McAllister is on the bench for Argentina. And that's about it. We'll sell it. Sell stuff. Yeah. So that game just started. 10 minutes in, 0-0 of that game. The Brazil game is going to start a little bit later on this afternoon. And also, let's see, it is final. Ukraine has come up short against the Czechs as they lost 3-2. And England won 2-0 today over Finland. That Germany game against the Netherlands is going final. It's also 2-2. Gravenberch had out of the two pivots, Gravenberch had the better of the games, according to SofaScore. And Again, Nigeria, Rwanda 0-0. So, and Ireland and Greece is what did you say 2-0 still, Brian?
Oh yeah, that game is done.
So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
there was let's see. I wanted to bring this up too. So
Stadium's
this
pretty much
is
empty,
yeah.
unfortunately. I mean, it's literally. I mean, there's about 400 people left. There's seconds to go. That's unfortunate. You can actually see more empty seats than full row in the front row. But that's corporate for you at Ireland games. The fare isn't particularly good. Let's just put it that way. Like the passion wears off after about 10 minutes. The football is often pretty poor. But that goal they scored earlier on, if that had gone in, or if that had been, just 4 inches onside, might have been a
Mhm,
different story. But
mhm.
yeah, Keller's still on the pitch. I mean, I'm not sure how much he could have done about the 2 goals, but
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to bring up a little bit of our moment of Zen here. So I know people are hyped that we are going to be moving on from Nike, or at least just moving to Adidas. I know a lot of people do like Adidas, and they definitely are very inventive and creative with their kits. This is this is off of a website that does get a lot of the a lot of the footy headlines right when it comes to this is the concept of a leaked template that we might go with the kit for Adidas. I actually like this is actually not a bad looking kit, to tell you the truth. But with that said, I also want to show a return. There was a return to this is like a cool little this is kind of like what we
Old
have to
school.
look forward to. Old school here. Some great picks there. For great players for us. Excuse me. In their Adidas kits. I kind of like the way that they rigged this up with the 4 different kits being on display here. But just a little bit of our moment of Zen. I will say this: there was a person that put out an all-time 11. I guess it was supposed to be a Premier League all-time 11. I hope it was an all-time 11 for just Premier League. But he had Carragher, he had Jamie in as our center back of an all-time Liverpool 11, and I'm just like,
Mm,
I don't know about that one. Jamie is definitely a Liverpool legend, but
yeah. Well, not anymore because of a certain 3-letter word man. But there you go.
yeah, I don't know if he gets into a Premier League. He had Virgil. They had Virgil van Dijk as one of the players, and then they had who else? And then they had obviously Jamie. So they had Virgil and Jamie as the 2 center back pairing for an all time.
Okay, fair enough. But I'll put Hippie ahead of him.
Yeah, I would put Hippie ahead of him too.
Yeah.
Definitely. If we're just going
yeah,
Premier
look,
League.
he's if you were to play peak Jamie Carragher, which is basically 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see it, but you can't. I don't think even Jamie would put himself in that all-time 11.
I don't think he would either. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with that.
I think he'd have himself on the bench. Maybe he's a humble guy, but I don't think he would say he was better than Hippie. He wouldn't. He would say better than Van Dijk. No way. I mean, Van Dijk and Hippie is probably impenetrable. Um, Carragher, I mean, that performance. I mean, there was so many performances in Istanbul in 2005 at the Ataturk Stadium that get the headlines. Stevie G, obviously, then Alonso, then Jerzy Dudek with the penalties. But what like Carragher was beyond immense. That Carragher was just like something from a different planet that night, blocking things all over. Like he was
Yeah.
blocking stuff here, then he was 20 yards away blocking something that's going down with cramp. Everything you want to see like a guy literally giving everything on the pitch. He was his performance was right up there with everybody else's. But
yeah, he gave
it
everything
doesn't.
for the badge.
Yeah, I mean, probably yeah. When you're talking about Premier League, he does actually get kind of close. I'm going to say it. Yeah, he gets pretty close. He's
Certainly
better than a lot of the
close.
second choices. I mean, the second choice guys aren't brilliant. Let's be honest. In our Premier League history, we've
Mhm,
had some pretty ropey centre halves. And I'd
mhm.
have Carragher 600 games, right back, left back, centre half. Never let you
Mhm.
down. Never had a bad game defensively. Well, I'm
Oh,
sure he
he's
had a
had some
few bad
stinkers.
games, but
Oh, he's
yeah,
had
I'm
some
sure. Yeah,
stinkers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he has. Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, the guy reliable as f. Compare him to some of the people we've had. Maybe not the worst shout in the world, but definitely not
No,
getting in times. He's not getting in that 11. That is,
no.
yeah, it's a bit of a reach there.
Yeah,
That is a
between
great.
like
No, sorry, it is a great photo though on that day, isn't it? That
yeah.
era was a great era, man.
No, yeah, no, I'm saying, bro, yeah. I was just saying in regards to Carragher, 05 to 09, that was peak Jamie Carragher.
Yeah,
That was peak Jamie Carragher. The
Mhm.
abilities we started making our way and challenging, and yeah. But in terms of the kit, yeah, I remember this season. It was a good season. 06, 06, 07. That kit is from. I remember that
um,
season we got to the final again against Milan, and that's the final which obviously we were unlucky. We should have won that final, but obviously Inzaghi the goal hanger.
am
Hmm.
I the only one who's annoyed by the fact that they're not completing the arm on the shoulder bit? Like Reina has his arm on Alonso's shoulder, Alonso has his arm on Carragher's shoulder, and Carragher just has his hands behind his back. He should have his hand
Yeah.
on Stevie's shoulder. Like that's
Maybe
is
he
it
just
just
found
me?
out that he's not in the top. He's not. Maybe he just found out
That's
he's not in the
You know
Premier
what it
League.
is.
yeah,
You
that's
know what? Also,
really annoying.
you know what? Also, that's the photo same boys is saying. We don't do this in England. You might do it in Spain. We don't do touching like that in
Yeah,
over here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Very much like
yeah, yeah.
Stevie's like you put your hand on my shoulder. Oh
I
fucking
would have
hell.
killed you, Jamie. You might be friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will turn around and knock you out the second you touch me.
yeah.
But
Jamie's
also,
like,
and also, the more I look at it, that's not a very nice keeper kit. I mean, maybe it looked
nah.
better in the daylight, but at the moment it's a bit orange. It's not actually that nice. But
Yeah,
no,
Not with the Halloween
yeah,
look,
it's
basically.
not great. But you see the way
yeah,
Pepe is showing off the boots as well. You see, Pepe is showing off the
yeah.
boot with the
He's
Adidas on that. As he's
Yeah.
showing, and he's got the glove on. Like Pepe knows. Pepe's like he knows. He's like, come on, this is commercials. He knows what to do. I know what
Yeah.
the two Scouse lads at the front are like. I know. No, I'm not doing this.
yeah,
I'm gonna stand here for 5 seconds, take the picture, and I'm out.
yeah, exactly.
I'll give you one
That
more
yellow kit though.
moment.
Yellow kit
I'll
is a
give you one
classic.
more. Let me see if I can give you one more moment to zen here. Then,
That yellow
uh,
kit, man, that is banging.
since you're not really feeling the orange, here's another moment.
It's not.
The Adidas kit as well.
Oh my! I mean, yeah, that's a classic. Kid
That's a
that comes.
classic.
Oh, that's one of my favorite tops. But Mo, I mean, come on. Oh boy. Anyway, but yeah,
Yeah, bro,
Can we
rocking it.
can, can we delete the internet? Is that
yeah,
possible?
that's yeah. That
Is that
looks a bit
possible?
suspect.
Can we
But yeah,
delete the internet? Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, if you saw that man in your local park, you're calling the cops. That's all.
yeah, yeah. You
Oh
thinking?
man, harsh,
Yeah.
harsh.
I know. I love when they try and match these new kids. But that's what is that though? That's a Carlsberg. Who? Yeah, that kid. I'm not going to forget that image for a long time.
Yeah, one in the memory bank.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where
Here, I'll
is
Oh,
he
show
mate,
though?
you
man.
what
It looks
the
icy.
link of it was. By the way, this was this guy Alfred on Twitter posted this. I'll show you what he looked at as being the best Premier League era Liverpool team. This was his picks, which are all good picks except for I just don't know if character. I don't know if Jamie makes it. I can live. I certainly live with Alonso over Fab. I get that. You got to have Stevie G, Torres, Suarez. I get that. Salah, Mane. So you got a front four that we can all agree on. But I just don't know about the one pick. There is just Jamie. No, all love to Jamie, but I would have. Yeah,
He's entitled to it. You know, obviously he's entitled. I mean,
Fair enough.
Alonso over Fabinho isn't even a conversation. I mean, Mascherano gets in over Fabinho.
Ooh.
Alonso is
Third is
probably as a destroyer, probably Mascherano. Yeah.
Was Mascherano? Do you think Mascherano was considered the best DM in the world?
For at points, he was up there, top 2, 3, yeah, for a long time. And then he went to Barcelona.
I'm not saying that he wasn't up there. I'm not saying he wasn't top
No, he
5.
was.
Top,
Yeah, no, he wasn't top. No, he was up there. He
top
was. Yeah,
3.
he was one of the best in the world. 100% he was.
But was he deemed as being the best? One of the best is one thing, but was he ever? Did anyone ever say?
No, to me, you know, he was.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever say
That's asking a
Fabinho?
question.
Like, no, because so you're going to say so somebody once said Fabinho was the best in the world.
Oh, there's been
that's just an opinion. Exactly. So that's just so that's regarded as, talked about as. That's just ethereal stuff. You know, it's just about whether if you're talking about someone to play that role. I think as a destroyer, something like that, Mascherano, definitely, and he showed what he could do as, you know, a centre half even for Barcelona. So Alonso, I mean, Fabinho, he comes up close. He's looking over there, but I mean, Alonso is a shoe in. I mean, you could talk about. I mean, you got players that played in the Premier League that were potentially as good as Torres, Owen, Fowler, people like that. They've all played for Liverpool in the Premier League.
Yeah. I would take. You know, oh god, I'll take Torres off for Fowler.
1, 2. I would change at least. Yeah, I changed 3 in that team. I think probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got one controversial one as well. I know people will say separate the player from his antics, but what Suarez did and what he did, and the shame he brought to the club, I'll take him out. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are, but yeah,
I don't want
I'm taking him out. Yeah.
Oh well, if you're going down the, that's the thing. Like if you're just being cold and going like players. But if you're talking about actual representing the club type stuff, then I'm changing 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 players in that team.
Okay. Who's the other players you take out, Brian?
I'm taking Mane out. I'm taking Mane out because without going to just basically look up who he married recently. And
you're talking about
she was.
You're talking about like
his wife. His wife.
Yeah, there's some. I mean, if you're talking about like getting deep into, I don't think this guy might be a bit weird. He's one.
I wouldn't. I'm not necessarily taking Suarez off because of what he's done off the pitch per se. I am doing it because he has been a quote unquote alleged racist on the pitch. You know, like,
he has,
and like fighting people and like doing all these different things that are that I just don't. I mean, like I get the whole like the with Mane.
But Torres off the pitch. Torres off the pitch as well. He talked shit about Liverpool after he left. That's off the pitch.
He made amends for it. But yes, I get what you're saying.
Well, you make amends for it, but he talked shit at the time, so you can't. You can say stuff later.
But it wasn't connected to, again, like I'm saying his actions. Suarez's actions were football.
Yeah, related. But no, and so that's what I know. So you're saying that, but what I'm saying is, if I'm doing my 11, I take everything into account. So even the fact that Stevie pretty much wanted to go and join Chelsea, like that's a stain.
And then I guess are you taking Alonso off because he chose to stay at Leverkusen instead of come back to Liverpool?
No, but he didn't do that as a player.
I'm only poking.
No, but what I'm saying, like everybody, when you dig deep into enough, like even a player like Stevie, who everyone lauds is like he was prepared to leave the club and go to Chelsea.
Sure.
You know, so they're not. We all talk about legends and this, but when you look into it, they all have their moments and they all have their things. You know, it's these
they're
guys
all
are
human
players,
beings,
so.
but they all have their shortcomings.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. But like you say, someone like Suarez has a lot more visible and a lot more kind of
next level. Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
Torres may have been a bit of a dick, and Mane may have
It's not that
married a
bad.
12-year-old. But yeah, you know, it's
Oh, Brian.
Suarez.
I wouldn't
Suarez
say
is
that about
biting
Mane.
people themselves, biting people, and I mean Andy Robbo is probably he's one of the cleanest people we have. Trent, Virgil, these guys
Virgil.
stand.
I mean, Ali.
stand
I
up
mean, you don't
solid
get much more like.
Well, I know,
you
you don't want him showing up at your door on a Saturday afternoon because you're thinking, "Wow, Ali's here." No, he wants to talk about Jesus.
Yeah,
he wants to talk. You're like, he's got an acoustic guitar, and it's not for fun; it's for God's sake.
You're not singing Beatles songs.
Yeah.
God bless you, Ali.
And Salah's probably a stand-up guy as well. Just wants to be left alone, do his own thing, and score goals. I like guys like that.
Yeah,
but Robbo, can you imagine? Like Robbo wakes up every morning, pinching himself twice, and then asking his girlfriend to pinch him. Goes, yeah, no, this is true. You are. This is real. Like he was working in freaking basically a supermarket not that long ago. His career was. He thought he was going to be at best some third level part-time Scottish player, been rejected, been knocked back, turns things around, and now he's this guy. Like, can you imagine of all the players that look at Jurgen Klopp and just go, this guy? Like, he would run through a brick wall for Jurgen Klopp right now. You know that. I mean, he is one of the biggest success stories of the Klopp era, I think. Robbo's right up there.
I get what you're saying. And I also wanted to say that bring back Mo Salah's picture. I think
Have you seen this man? Have you seen this man? The Central Park creeper.
Oh man. Big up, Mo. Yes, we're at the time where we're gonna be wrapping up the discussion, but I wanted to say thank you to the panel, and I wanted to also say thank you to those of you that stuck with us and brought in some insights, brought in some questions, brought in some conversation amongst yourselves, kept it moving, which is always what we'd like to see. Again, shout out for Fab, by the way. I personally think that you were a great,
he was a great. I'm just saying he wasn't as good as Mascherano or Alonso.
I got you.
High quality. It's high company. It's high company.
Mascherano was a great player. I don't know. All right, we're not gonna get it. No, we're going to get into it. So it's all about
Alonso. But Alonso was like that's like comparing apples and oranges. Alonso was a totally different type of player. I wouldn't even put him.
Absolutely.
So it's only for me. It's only
we were talking about that
Fabinho
earlier.
and Mascherano thing. For me, it's only Fabinho and a Mascherano thing. For Alonso is just doing Alonso. Nobody does what he does. Nobody does what he does for us. Grav can come closer, maybe.
Okay. Well, Lolante, is there anything that you want to bring up or say to the people, or before we bounce out here?
Yeah, so I just want to bring a quick subject on before we go. Actually,
let's do it.
It's about podcasts. It's about other channel podcasts, and again, I don't listen to by dipping my ear in. Certain people have been contacting me about certain things, and I think there's a lot of podcasts. I mean, I could go naming names, here, but some of them about Diaz is a human cannibal, and then some of them, a certain person that I think we all know, well known in the podcast game, saying, Jurgen is a SHIT coach, and I think there's a lot of these. Yeah, I think we know we're talking about boy Brian and 12, but I think a lot of these podcasters, I'm getting
Some
a bit,
individual was
I'm,
trying to bring that up again yesterday. I was like,
oh
dude, just
yeah,
let it
I'm
go,
just
man.
get, yeah, I'm just exactly, and I'm just again, I think again, I guess people around the world are like controversy because even yesterday on the other day on Copish, I was, they were going to do something, and I was thinking, oh, they're bringing that person in. I was just thinking, and not even just because of what you said, 12,
Mhm.
told me, but just. I'm just out of curiosity. If I just man, these people and a lot of these, and again, I'm just discussing them in the chat. You can tell me some of them. A lot of these, not all, but a lot of these Liverpool podcasters are just clout chasing with just some silly and outrageous views. And some of them, honestly, mate, they need to stop pod. Look, if you can't listen, if you want to be constructive, be constructive. But if you're gonna come out with just silly stuff, I mean, just don't podcast. And funny enough, Brian, actually, I'll show a
Mm.
message. I've been calling out Don Hassan to come on the panel, but the first time he said, "Oh, you confused the 12 man's podcast with someone else. Who is it, Dan Potts?" And I said, "No, you haven't been on there. That's not Dan Potts. It's the podcast." But I'll keep on bothering him. But he's too
Yeah,
scared to take the challenge. But yeah,
nice.
there you go.
You're breaking through the door, knocking on the door.
Radio
Yeah,
silence.
Yeah,
yeah,
He's like,
exactly. Yeah,
he's like, I
yeah,
gotta check my diary. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I look forward to that day. I will definitely look forward to it. And I am in agreement with you. There's some things, like I said earlier, I've tried to call it out. Look, and this is definitely directed towards the chat, in that a lot of the people that show up and support this channel have had, we've had different views, or we have different takes, but we've all been able to discuss them civilly, and we've also been able to really be able to just hear the person out. And also, a lot of the people that we have supported, a lot of the players in the likes, even sometimes even the coaches in the likes as well, are now they're back into the races, or now they're back into being in the more of the upper or the higher graces of some of the fan base. Now all of a sudden you're going to have a rush to be the first to say, oh yeah, I was always on board with this player, or I always thought Don was a good player, I always thought Graba was this kind of player, or Lucho was always a good player, and it's funny. It's just funny to me, because a lot of the people, again, in the chat have always been very staunch supporters of this club and of the players and of the coaches. And I think that really matters, because I don't like it when people try to steal your shine and act as though they've been shoulder to shoulder with you, despite the fact that they've been just taking a piss, as you like to say in the UK. A lot of our players. So, sometimes it's warranted. Most oftentimes, it's just to get a rise out of us, and that's the sad thing about it. So, I really do applaud again those of you in the chat that have been vocal and have been standing up and standing up for these players, or for your belief and hope in this team. And that's why I like the fact that you're here with me, and that's why I believe that we continue to try to make it a little bit of a more pronounced voice in the community, of saying we are Liverpool, and we're proud of our mighty Reds. So that's just my take. Brian, I know after that little rant there, did you have anything to say or want to add to the conversation, or something you want to say?
Well, I know Nolante is Nolante is getting depressed by looking at what's going on, and that's the whole landscape has been pretty depressing for a very long time. And unfortunately, being nice and having nice opinions and wanting nice things and hoping for the best doesn't get you 100,000 subscribers. It doesn't get you thousands of people in your chat, and that's the path you choose to walk. You can either go down that route, and you can go down that route in a certain way and try and do it in a funny way, by taking the piss out of those people and then bringing people into your chat and then realizing that you're not actually all about that. But that's kind of difficult and rare. But unfortunately, there's another 14-year-old Liverpool fan born every minute, and 14-year-old Liverpool fans that live online, they're terminally online. They don't care. They don't care about facts and nice things in reality and context and all that. They
No.
want to see people giving out and fighting and just going, "Wow, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen." Just see that. It's for basically kids. Most of this stuff is for kids. It's done by adults for kids.
Yeah, question. That's even that's questionable at times, but yeah.
Well, I mean, by technically, legally, adults made to enrage people, and they know basically if you want to be the biggest asshole on the planet, that's cool with me if you believe what you're saying. But the
Mhm.
second you say something that you don't believe for money, you're washed instantly, and everything you say is completely irrelevant. But you'll get guys out there that can talk for an hour and a half and don't believe most of what they say. And,
Yeah,
fair play to them for doing it. But you're going to
yeah,
be out there to make money. If you want to make money, if you put up a thumbnail on your channel that says everything's cool, nothing to see here, nothing, nothing's going to happen to your channel. You have to be
yeah. No one's
always
gonna
on
tune in.
all the time. It has to be something all the time. It has to be not rage bait. Doesn't have to be, but rage bait works better, and that's YouTube. That's the world we're in, and like our little part corner of this world is very very different to the rest of it. But unfortunately, for people like us, we're fighting a losing battle against because, like I said, Nolante, we're getting older and wiser and smarter every day. But there's an
Yeah.
army of 14-year-old teenagers that are just edge lords, if that's still a term, that want to come on. They don't
Yeah.
care about discussion. They don't care about context and interesting stuff. They might do eventually, but right now they're 14-year-olds, 15 year
Right,
olds. They just want to be dickheads and they want to argue
right,
and call you out and do things like that. And that's
right,
the YouTube comments mainly. Like, this is like a different little corner of the world. Like that
Yeah.
Yola
Yeah.
Tango song, My Little Corner of the World. Um,
yeah.
that's just it. Like, but for most people, what they want is they want to go and argue and fight, and they don't even take it that seriously. But that's their thing. They'll do it and they'll wind somebody up. Oh, that was great fun. Wind that guy up. They don't want to hear about that time England beat fucking Hungary 6-3 in a match. And they don't care about that shit. They want to
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
Ryan Grabarch a dickhead. They want to
Yeah.
say that Saka
Controversy.
wouldn't get into the Wickham team.
Right.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't.
There's a lot
That's
of
where we are.
revisionaries out there, revisionists out there too, when it comes to some of the takes that you hear. It is
But yeah, I
Instagram
don't blame. It's
too.
the whole don't hate the player, hate the game thing. That, like, sometimes you should hate the player because some of these players have created this game. Like, I blame some of these older people who are, say, if you're older than 35 and you're engaging with people like this, you should probably have a look at yourself.
Hmm.
And if you're fostering an arena or a place for these kind of people, you should probably have a
Yeah.
look at yourself. I mean, if you're
Mhm.
22 and you're hyped up, I mean, if you're 22 and you're hyped up all day and you've got a load of testosterone, adrenaline, you just can't wait, and you're on all the time, yeah, cool, do your thing, man, on YouTube, be hyped up. But by the time you get to 36, 37, and you're still getting involved with these type of people, that's pretty weird because you wouldn't be
Hmm.
involved with them in real life, and you're
Most
engaging
likely.
with these type of people. It's your opinion. You should mature, and your audience should probably mature along with you. But guess what? That doesn't make sense to your bank account if you're relying
It
on ad
doesn't. It
revenue.
doesn't. If
You
you're
need
working on just like,
young
yeah,
people to engage.
yeah, I rather be, yeah, I certainly rather be attest to quality over quantity. And often I've seen there's content creator channels out there that have certainly higher numbers than the subscribers that we have to this channel currently. And yet it's more of the quality and also the return quality as well. That's important to me. As in, it's one thing to have quality, but it's another thing that you return to the channel to continue to keep that quality at a certain level. And that's why I really appreciate, your Jimmys, your Bernies, your Marions, your Bonkers, Richards, honesties, Cedric, people like that as well. I mean, the list is going. Hylor, the list goes on and on. Alexander, like Red for Life, some names that just popped in today. Actually, Red Armchair Supporter, like these people that show up and despite the fact that they probably turn on YouTube and there's about 3, 4, if not 5, 6 more channels out there to go and look at or be a part of. They chose this environment and forum to be a part of because they understand that we're going to have honest conversations. We're going to have different opinions, but there's going to be also a forum that we can at least voice those opinions and not be disrespectful in essence, the way that some of these content creators are, specifically just to get a rise out of the people, the rise out of the group that they're engaging. And sometimes they don't engage with the chat. I hate that somewhat when we're certainly at a good place where we are able to engage with the chat, but often they only engage if it's only a super chat, like they don't engage with the community when, so it's all like, if you pay me, yeah, I'll look at your comment. But unless you pay me, I'm not listening to your comment. That's like not where I want to be, Obviously, we get to a point where we have super chats, fantastic. You want to help support the channel, and so we can bring in different content or bring in different, variations to the channel. That's fantastic. But it's more about the engagement with the channel or with the chat.
Yeah, I want to go to Disneyland.
Is that, you want to go to Disneyland? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I want to go to Disneyland. Let's get this monetized shit.
Yeah, same. Go bring the girls. Don't remind me.
Yeah. So bottom line is
also, by the way, on terms
big up
on terms of that, we're not going to be. There are certain channels out there who have monetization and have super chats enabled because they have a certain amount of subscribers. Those subscribers are not real subscribers. So if this channel ever does get to the point where it's monetized, it will be purely organic.
Yeah.
And I understand why some channels will take that shortcut, and that's cool. You do your thing to try and get more notice. But if you see our chat is what is congruent with our subscriber numbers, whereas some people you go in, they may have 3,500 subscribers, but 2 people in the chat. Well, then there's something going on. If this channel ever does get to that point, it won't be because we do. You can go out and buy a bot, and you can buy subscribers, and and the next thing you know, you're monetized. That will never happen. It'll always be. It will be a proper thing, and hopefully it won't take that long, but it'll get there eventually. Whatever it takes to kick it off, but yeah, it'll always be real. If nothing else, it'll always be real.
That's one of the major reasons why I like the chat here is that we have we'll have 10, 20, 30, 50 people, whatever, in the chat. Hopefully it gets to be even more than that in the chat, but it's the fact that they engage with each other. We've created relationships. I think if you want to make a comparison, I believe that I have the concept of the Jurgen Klopp concept of I want to build relationships rather than get silverware for the silverware for like 10,000, 100,000 subscribers or 10,000 whatever it is, where you get the plaques and the likes from YouTube. More important is about
it's 100K for silver play button.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always been about the engagement, the relationships that we build. So I think that by building the relationships, the moments matter that much more. And that's how I look at it. You can have moments, but if you have relationships with people that create a bond or create that essence of you're walking together, as Bernie said earlier, it makes that moment that much more rememberable. It makes that moment that much more special and pertinent. So that's just my take. And that's just my perception. But big up Cedric. Get home safe.
We could come on here and argue.
Big up yourself, Cedric.
If we wanted to, we could come on here like someone said last night. Me and you would argue about the result of I don't know what the analogy was, But I could come on here every night and tear you apart. You could, you could fight back at it. We could have drama every night. 12 man versus the Irishman, blah blah blah. This kind of like, rather than it just being, we could make it like every night it'd be who's the best 11, 12 man versus Irishman, and we could argue about it. Go over the top of it. That would be real easy. Could do that every single night. But I'd hate it, and it would drain you, and it'd be horrible. But some people, they do that every night, rather than just like, oh, will we do a combined 11? No, let's do a you versus me, and we'll call each other dickheads all night. Cool. Yeah. Let's fight each other all night, because people prefer that. And the people in the chat go, oh man, look at this. He just killed him. What? That's all. It's like a rap battle, or it's like, whatever you used to call it back in the day. Two kids just going one against each other, and all the people in the background going, yeah, he just killed him, man. He slayed him. All this shit. We used to call them slagging matches back in the day. Two kids would meet up and they'd insult each other, and you'd have people behind them going, oh, that was much better. And at the end of the day, someone would cheer more. Yeah, he destroyed you, man. You lost that battle. And that's still going on. That's still the same thing. You see that Who Sam channel, like we said, with that guy, Tom. He just brings that guy on, asks his opinion, and then calls him a dickhead.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that all night. But would you want to do that? I'd have no interest in doing that.
Yeah, that's draining. And if anything, you know what? Eventually, you're going to have a point where you're just like, you know what? I'm not interested in engaging.
Start believing it.
You just want to rather walk away from the conversation than actually engage in the conversation and build from it. So that's not where I want to be. But you're right. It exists on some of the top channels out there. I know. I've tried to mention it to Terry quite a bit about, hey, bring on some people that really represent this fan base and represent what I think is a proper red, in that, rather than these, content creators, that some of them that are just in it for the money and that are just.
Do you know what I will say? Sorry about some of those people. And like you were saying is correct, right? Because I've actually done a load of that shit. I've done that like probably 6 or 7 times. I've gone on those like ranty type shows, right? Where it's like, and you've seen people who just going off their nut all the time, because like they'll have people going in and feed, and then like I've gone on type shows like that, and I talk the way I talk, and I say the things I say, and I don't lose my head. And these people change instantly. Now, I'm not saying they become different people, but they're just like, yeah, that's, like when someone, like you were saying, when someone who is a normal fan goes onto these channels, these people, they don't have the ability to stay in character all the time. So when they actually speak to a normal human being that isn't a lunatic, they automatically like, oh, this is a normal person. I'll speak normally to them. Like they do, are they actually? And you can see that they're actually normal people with normal opinions, but they go on YouTube and present this kind of thing. So if you get on like lunatic from from Birmingham to call in, then they'll go off on it. But as soon as someone comes in and talks to them like a grown adult, it's like they kind of buckle up their shoes, straighten up their tie in class a little bit. And they start talking. Well, actually, yeah, of course I know that Diaz doesn't eat people for breakfast, or this kind of stuff. It's just like, yeah, because you say that shit, right? It's really funny with these ranty people when they're confronted by an adult that they haven't met before. These call-in type shows, they're confronted with someone who is calm and, like you said, a real fan. They come back down to earth so quickly. And then you see that the whole thing that they do is just such an act, because their accents even change sometimes.
Yeah.
Because when they're ranting, they'll put on a voice or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's like their mum rings them up and, oh, hi, mum. Where's your accent going, bro? It's got that kind of vibe to it sometimes. A lot of these guys, man, because they can't keep it up because it's not real.
It's not real. No, it's not. By the way, 1-0 Colombia. 1-0. We're at halftime.
Yeah.
Colombia over Argentina is currently. And the Chile-Bolivia game isn't exactly a highlight reel in the making. So, but they are up. Bolivia's up 1-0 over Chile. Excuse me. Chile used to be a very, very viable team out there in Argentina, or excuse me, in South America. but not so much the case anymore. But
I saw they had a thing on the side of the pitch. I was watching a video about Bolivia a couple of days ago, and obviously everyone knows they have those super high stadiums, like up 4,000 feet, and I think it's La Paz or whatever. Like, I mean, they just kill people when they get there, but they're all the South American teams always complain about it, and they were playing at a home game there recently, and written across like the pitch, all where like the substitute areas is, the tech areas is, it's written into the ground. We play where we live. I was like, fuck yeah. That was so good. That's just like they've written it into the ground. They're like, come at us. You don't want to play us? We play where we live.
Yeah.
This is where we live.
No, it's difficult. It's difficult to play.
It's they know it's a whole they know, but they're just like all these people complaining. We play where we live.
It's the reason why a lot of people
where you live.
when the Olympic athletes here in America, when they train, they tend to train in Colorado, for instance, or even Arizona sometimes too, but Colorado specifically because of the high elevation. You will be humbled by elevation. Elevation will humble you quickly.
They were saying like that one. The one like the one that they're the ground I'm talking about, for some reason, like that's not like their main ground. Like, that's not they chose like to play it like as you can move it around your country. That is above base camp level at Everest.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, going there and playing football, I love it. I think it's brilliant, but it doesn't. It like they still end up where they end up. It doesn't give them an unfair advantage.
No,
Argentina,
I remember
Brazil
that was the main complaint from. Not only was it the main complaint, we played Costa Rica in a qualifier for a World Cup, and I remember it's because again, like this was during that era when I had quite a few friends in the team, and they played us in Denver, Colorado. Not only are you playing at the elevation that they're playing, but it snowed. So, like, the entire pitch was like just, there's points where they had to shovel the sideline so you could see the out of bounds. It was really, really something. One of those things where you would kick a ball and it would just like land and not move. That's how much snow was going on in this game. It could be unique where you end up playing your games, but we also have
got to use that shit. We got to use that shit.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
use it to your advantage.
There's an edge. If there's an edge, marginal gains, man, marginal gains. So Bolivia, play them higher, man. If there's a stadium at 20,000 feet, play them at that fucking stadium.
Yeah,
play them up because guess what? The Bolivians don't live there. Yeah, but these Bolivian players don't live there. They play in other countries. But it's just, I love the way it's just like, it's such a it's not like we play where we live. That's just so succinct. It's just like, get over it.
Yeah.
Basically, get over it.
Yeah. I don't know how the elevation isn't exact. I mean, the elevation's still up there in Santiago, Chile. That's where they're playing.
But that's the thing. Chile isn't. That's when you said it was like, yeah, of all the countries that could probably handle it.
Yeah,
they'd be one of the closer.
They're all mountains. Yeah, Chile's like the entire country is right in mountains.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they cocoa.
But too.
Yeah,
they deal with their own cases as well. And that Ecuador-Peru game is 0-0 still in the first half. So.
Yeah, like if Bolivia had to go and play a World Cup game, say for whatever reason, well, again, this wouldn't happen, I suppose. But no, look at like fucking at sea level down in Belo Horizonte or something like this in Madrid, in Brazil at like 38 degrees. Like it's cold up in the mountains. It doesn't get hot up there, right? So like if they have to go and play in the middle of the rainy season in Brazil, that's just as hard for them as the Brazilian team having to go up the mountains. So they also have the opposite effect of it. Like people just act like what it's not like Bolivia are winning World Cups here. Like they have, like they're still not that good. So it evens out at the end of the day. Like they don't qualify for stuff. Yeah, okay, people go there and they lose, but they still win all their other games.
Mhm.
So it's not like it gives them this crazy unfair advantage. I just think it's probably kind of funny. So I do think it's funny, but I also think it's really interesting because it's an interesting country. And, this is proper football stuff. It isn't all played in perfect conditions, at perfect stadiums, perfect grass. Every now and again, you need
Yeah.
random shit, make it interesting and funny.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks like interesting. The Lick got the start today, but interesting. I saw something he put out there. The Lick got the start, but he ended up getting subbed out.
Yeah, another stinker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah? Okay.
Yeah, his sofa score was not good. But hey, Red Devil. There you go.
Yeah,
They're
went to the
already
wrong team.
calling him Harry Delict. That's what they're calling him now. Like that's all. That is
Oh,
hard.
that's
Doesn't
bad.
take long, does it?
Oh,
It
that's
Doesn't
doesn't
take
nice.
take
long.
long, man.
Doesn't take long at all.
That's embarrassing for him.
Yup. And
24
he
to be
asked for
called
it.
Harry DeLitt. Oh boy.
He wanted
Jeez.
to be there. You get what you get. You get what you
Yeah,
ask for sometimes.
indeed, indeed. Sir.
Yeah.
But
It's like kind
people,
of
thank you.
joining, yeah, no, isn't it? It's just like joining, like, the world's, I'm trying to think of it now, like, the world's biggest rock band, like, 2 years after they kind of broke up. And it's weird. Like, it's just
Mhm.
so weird. He's going to go there now. And, yeah, like that fucking Harry Delict. What chance have you got, man? What chance have you
Yeah.
got?
Mhm. But yeah, Gravenberch, yes, Gravenberch is certainly Gravenberch has made an incredible. You're right, honestly, he has made an incredible upturn in his uh in his career. Definitely a considerable upturn, considering that he's now starting for the Netherlands. That says a lot. I mean, it says a lot. He did not start in the Euros, you know, but is now a bona fide starter for the Netherlands and getting the opportunity to make his best. So
It
long
just
may
shows you.
continue. Don't
How
worry
many
about that.
games did he play last year?
For
Football,
Netherlands or for
basic.
us?
Not us. No, in total last year. He basically never played. Now he's playing
Yeah,
for
he
Liverpool.
probably.
It just
Yeah,
shows
it's
you.
true.
But you don't know how you cannot judge a player until they're playing week in, week out. Because if a player is in, out, in, out, in, out, they can't show until you see a player in a vein of form. Then you can judge him. It's
Mhm.
just like Gravenberch. I think when I looked at the minutes he had, it was like Christ, like the guy barely never got a shout. It just shows you really need to like give guys
He
6, 7, 8
played.
games to see
He
what they
played
can do.
for us 26 times last year
Yeah.
in
In all comps.
in just the Prem.
Oh, in the league. Okay.
Made 26 appearances. Started
Hmm.
12 times.
Oh yeah,
Started.
yeah. So it's like now you see what happens with a guy in a system that works for him. He starts every game.
Mhm.
It just
Made 5 appearances
yeah.
in Europa. Started 4 of those.
And played in probably a different position every time he came on.
Most
That's the
likely,
other
yeah.
thing. Now he's
Most likely.
starting. He knows what he's doing. He knows what his job is. So again, he was a deadline day signing. We forget that a guy didn't really find his place. So
Mhm.
once give someone a game every week for 6, 8, 10 weeks, and then you see what happens. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
expect someone to play one game, be
I
out for
don't think he
two.
played in the FA Cup for us. I don't think he had any games in the FA Cup. But he did play in the League Cup. Had 5 appearances, 4 starts in the League Cup. I don't see anything for. I don't see anything for FA Cup for him. I mean,
Yeah,
he's got
rhythm. That's the word they always use. Rhythm.
rhythm.
Just
Yeah.
playing every week in, week out. You're going to play. It's that
Mhm.
confidence getting in. Oh, no, but you can pop like we were saying with Trent. he won't have to explain to any of our boys, I'm going to play that ball, because they're playing with each other week in, week out. That half a second of telepathy of playing week in, week out makes a goal. Him not having to explain. So rhythm, I think, is one of the most important. Like, there's nothing like when I know, like, I didn't play football for a long time. Then I went back to playing football, and all I know is the more times I played, the better I got, and the more often I played over 3-4 months, I got much better really quickly. When I started playing twice a week instead of once a week, I went out and found another game, because my main game was on a Thursday, so I went and found a Tuesday game, and that made me much better because I was playing all the time. The more you play, the better you get. It doesn't matter how good Zinedine, me, or Ronaldo. Doesn't matter. The more you play, the better you get. So it's just touching the ball, passing the ball all the time, first touch. So Gravenberch, I mean, this slot guy, man, I have high hopes for him. I have really high hopes for him. He seems to have the magic touch.
Yeah. Well, big up to everyone again for joining us today. We're at the 3-hour mark, so we're going to end it here. But thank you, Nalante, for joining us. Thank you, Brian, for joining us. And thank you out there in the chat for joining us. Big up to JK. I see you in the chat. Big up to you, JK.
Oh, big up, JK. Big up.
And I think I said hello to Alexander, but just in case I didn't, hello to Alexander as well. And night to Bernie. But we will be back tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have our Continental Cup tomorrow. Hopefully, we can do it. We're either going to do it Wednesday or Friday. If we need to, we'll push it back to Friday. But you'll see the thumbnail. Just keep an eye out for the thumbnail. I'm going to complete it. I'm going to complete it for production today. But yes, we're either going to do the Continental Cup tomorrow, or we might have another. I have another backup show just in case for tomorrow. That should be fun. It's another, rankings show, or some show that involves the chat very heavily. So please do be a part of it tomorrow. Would appreciate seeing you guys here on the channel. And again, big up to everyone that joined us today. And I guess, if anything, the last thing you can always say is, up the Reds, people, up the Reds. We shall see you mañana. All right. Take care, guys.